So, welcome to the Squad Games podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about tier lists. And what we are doing for a tier list today is going to be quite exciting. Our guests, firstly, we have Giacomo, and it's his birthday. He's over there.
Hooray!
Yeah, happy birthday, Giacomo.
Hey,
If you're a cool guy, if you're a cool guy or cool girl, make sure you also wish Giacomo a happy birthday, either in our Discord or in the comment section below. If you're not a cool guy, you're just going to ignore this, you know? Engagement for the engagement gods.
Yeah, like and subscribe.
Yeah, there we go. We have Orion. Orion is an amazing competitive player on the East Coast. He is the leader of Plasma Spam. And then our embodyless voice is Alexander Popov. Hopefully me and Alex should be streaming Worlds together this year. Now,
Yes. Yay.
we are going to be talking all about the Q2 data slate for this year. Very exciting, and I hope that everyone here enjoys. Now, we did a lot of custom stuff for our tier list. I made a custom image, a custom graphic, and we move everything so we don't have to use Tier Maker online because that's boring. Everyone does it, you know? I have art skills. I can make art stuff.
There we go. May as well.
We made it similar to like a fighting game pre-selection, you know? It is what it is. And also we have a bunch of community members who have added to this. So like our Vespids, I painted the Vespids. Giacomo's painted multiple models on there. And as we continually paint more and more stuff, we will add more and more. Speaking of which, G, we need to get our Sanctifiers and our Gormonger pictures up so that we can add those to this as well. Since we have painted both of those teams now. All right. I guess it's without further delay. We're going to move over to this. So this is our tier list. Let's unselect that up there. Cool. This is our 2022-2025 Q2 tier list. And it's entirely too early, just like we always do. And I want to start off with Blades of Khaine and Kommandos just because they're sticking outside of my beautiful box, right? So,
Okay.
So we're going to start off with those. But let's make a metric real quick, okay? Typically, we have done different metrics for S through D, but we are going to do something a little bit different. I want to be able to go back during our next tier list video, and I want to compare and contrast our last tier list to our actual stats. And the only way to do that is to make this tier list a win rate, okay? Now, we can talk about where we think some of these guys are going to be in the future tier lists, like if we think, like, for instance, Fellgor had a 50% win rate for the last data slate, but they had the most tournament wins, period. So we can talk about if we think that this team has a really high skill ceiling, and yet we think that it's only going to reach a certain amount. So S tier is anything above a 55% win rate. So that's what GW considers broken, and they want a nerf. A tier will be between 55 and 50. B will be between 50 and 45. C will be between 45 and 40, and D tier will be anything under that, which was a lot of teams that we didn't expect. So last time, so we're going to go through that this time, and we're going to kind of go from there and see. If you guys don't like win rates, I apologize. But we will be talking about where we think a lot of these teams can push, or where we think that some of the teams will win events. Now, is everyone cool with those metrics?
I'm cool with it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Cool. All right. So let's start off with Blades of Khaine. I think Blades got a little buff. Am I correct? Or did they get nothing?
Clarifications, I think, from the
Clarifications
previous
only?
FAQ, I think.
Yeah, I think they had a sideways clarification or something like that.
Yeah, just so people knew exactly what was going down.
And they had a 47% win rate. So I would probably say Blades of Khaine. I did play them recently against Giacomo's Kasrkin. You can find that on our Twitch. We played on the Star Strider's ship, which was quite fun, quite exciting. And, Blades definitely are pretty strong. Let's just say that. Especially when you pay for the ceaseless poison, you don't have to spend all your rerolls.
Yeah.
I definitely think they're a pretty decently strong team. I think they're probably going to be between 45 and 50% win rate. I think that if you take them to a tournament, you're probably going to do pretty good. They're a lot of fun. What do you guys think?
I am totally in agreement. The one thing is there's a lot of reading with this team because there's so many different options.
There's so many times I had to sit down and be like, what do I do?
Exactly, right? So this is the team you kind of have to do some homework, like, and really like go, okay, this is the squad I'm going to roll up with, and these are the powers I'm going to take. So I should know how to use these powers effectively.
Okay.
Right.
Before we move on, I forgot. Each one of us gets a one-time squad games card. I don't know what to call it, to be honest. A wild card. You can ignore all of us, and you can put a team into a different tier, any tier that you want. Right. So if you want to put scouts in S tier, you can use your.
That's stupid. Who would do that? That's
in alphabetical order. S is lower than D, so therefore it technically would make sense where you'd put S tier.
There you go. If somebody wants to put Exaction Squad in S tier as well, you could use your card on that, and then it's really gonna screw us up.
I don't know why we do that. That's where they belong.
Dang.
Wow. Okay, Kellen.
That's an inside joke for those who don't know.
It is. It's an old podcast episode. So, so I vote B tier for Striking Scorpions. G votes it. What do you think, Orion?
I think that's about fine. Yeah, the team obviously has sees some success. It has a lot of rules. It's really easy to choose the wrong path, even if you're a good player. And Blades of Khaine, B tier. I mean, it's like a match made in heaven, in my opinion.
How about you, Alex?
I will say the complexity will drag it down. It probably will be in C.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, especially after the new team comes out. Is it going to be in this cycle?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's probably
All right.
Probably hard counter them too, or something like that.
Well, Alex has been outvoted. So sorry, Alex.
B
okay.
for Blades.
We're putting them in B tier. Now, Kommandos. I can pull up my site. Oh, I don't know if my site has the old stuff. I think it only has the new stuff.
Oh. Well, they were doing decent, correct? Like in the middle of the pact.
Mm-hmm.
Because what?
Yeah, I think they had like a 43% win rate or something like that. Kommandos.
Yeah.
It's not awful, right?
Yeah,
especially for a season 1 team,
Right, and you look at the rule set on that team and you go like, there's not a novel on each character. It's just like it does this and that's it.
That's just players can't read.
Yeah,
that's what source can't read.
If anyone is looking for our stats, you can go to squad-games.net. We have a bunch of stats there. Right now, there's not a ton of games for every team, so it is difficult to tell where the teams are going to be, but we reset the stats every time a data slate comes out. So right now, it looks like Fellgor surprisingly have the highest percent win rate, but there's only 8 games total. So, it is, you can only take so much data from this, obviously, right? So yeah, this is not going to be helpful. Okay, so Kommandos, I have not seen anyone play Kommandos on the West Coast in any of our tournaments. In fact, we just sold out another tournament. Woo. We actually sold 39 of 38 tickets. Don't ask me how that happened. The internet is hard. I'm going to say that Kommandos are probably going to be in C tier between the 40 and 45% win rate. I don't think that the meta has changed drastically enough that it's going to, help their win rate at all, That's probably where I'd put them.
Yeah, and I think anything that gave him trouble is still around, so.
Yeah, but what's interesting is Orion has had tons and tons of success with them from what I hear, at least a while ago. I don't know if you played them. Okay.
A long time ago.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know who you're quoting here. I'm not known as the orc guy.
Yeah, that was pre-LVO though, right? You were doing relatively
Yes.
well with them.
That was really before Worlds. That was one of the first teams I picked up to teach people how to play like the new edition because obviously like I had picked it up pretty quick and some friends were still learning. So it was the team I took because it was pretty easy to learn against. And like the team's not bad, but honestly, I think what it has suffered the most from is like you said, it was a season 1 team, and I think there's so much player fatigue with the team, especially with the time period where Kommandos were the most oppressive thing in Kill Team.
Mm-hmm.
I think past that, so many players just fell off because they didn't want to play it anymore.
That's
That
fair.
even if the team may be better than it's showing on stats, players aren't picking them up because they just don't want to play them.
And right now there's like 40 other teams. So yeah, I mean,
There's also
that does
another
make
orc
sense.
team, which is more orky.
And probably more fun.
See, people keep saying it's more orky, but I think Kommandos hit the nail like perfect, right? So, what do you have for your Spec Ops? Super ripped guys, because that's what orcs would have, right? This is how they would do their Spec Ops guys. Like, they bring a flamethrower to a Spec Ops team. Like, all right, that seems legit. That's just the orc logic. It's like, that would work.
Yeah,
So I always thought
sneaky
they hit it
guys
perfect with
with
both
a
orc
flamer.
teams. Both orc teams are amazing for different reasons.
No,
Yeah,
they are good, but still,
Yeah. I get what you mean, though.
Orcs in the lore, sure, shun Kommandos still because they think they're fucking weird. So
Because they're more cunning than brutal.
yeah,
Yeah, see? Yeah, y'all just brutal. You're not as cunning.
Yeah, see, personally, I think that Kommandos are the quintessential perfect kill team.
Oh, yeah.
Personally, just because like they have every single operative is so kill team. It's just like it's like the definition. I absolutely love them. Alex, what about you, brother? Where do you think these guys are going to be?
I haven't seen them since the new edition started. So I would say 48% win rate.
Oh, okay.
Wherever it takes them. C? Is that C?
All right. That would be B tier.
B tier.
B.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think they're fine in B. Again, they're not a bad team by any means.
Okay, so that's 2-2. G, where are you putting them now?
I put him in B for sure.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
well, I got outvoted. I think
it's not.
they're C tier.
It's not even a choice.
Kommandos.
Yeah,
That's fair.
exactly. The logic's perfect.
Yeah.
You believed it.
I will say if B tier gets filled up, because it will, we're gonna have to drop them. I'm gonna vote.
Okay, yeah, I will agree with you on that. I think that will be one of the teams that probably has to go.
All right. I think that we should talk about the big bad in the room now, which would be
Ooh.
Sanctifiers. In my opinion,
Oh.
Sanctifiers got a nerf, right? Which is indicative of how strong the team is, because the only other time Games Workshop has ever nerfed a team on release was on release Colts, and they nerfed the damage reduction, or it was like some flamer ability or some shit specifically from them, right?
Right.
So Games Workshop realizes I think, right? That Sanctifiers are more than likely a massive problem. And even when I talk to people who were like super on the Gormonger train in California, they're all coming to realize the power of Sanctifiers. I think that they're easily probably the best team currently in Kill Team. Now, Orion plays at an extremely high level. What do you think, Orion?
I'm glad to be honest here. I have yet actually to play them.
Yeah,
nobody just wanted to play them near me, so I don't have more than paper theory. And the team is obviously good, especially to take a day one nerf. I don't know if they're like Colts level good though. Like when you put the two teams side by side that both have gotten emergency nerfs.
Right.
I think Sanctifiers are still a lot more squishy at the end of the day, and their toolbox is more like their toolbox is good, but when they get punched in the face, they get punched in the face.
Yeah, I think old Colts could have felt worse than the Sanctifiers, but objectively, the Sanctifiers at the end of this past data slate had a 75% win rate at the end of the data slate, which means that they definitely had the most win to loss ratio in the history of Kill Team.
So that incorporates them basically having an entire turn, right, to deal damage where other players could not.
Which
is a big deal, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like having a psychic phase in 40k when your opponent doesn't run
Mhm.
psychics.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
now
but
I think it's a little better, but I think they're still a good team. I don't know if I want to say S, because I think one of the big things was getting that early damage. And then if you want initiative, doing it again. Now it's not nearly as strong with the movement that they have, just because like, yeah, they can set it up turn 2 and push in, but your opponent can already get to you and respond at that point. More
they
ploys are
definitely
alive because they spent CP.
they definitely can. But I mean, this team has everything. It has damage reduction. It has just a scratch. It has every kind of damage. It has chain swords on all its models. It has flamers on all the models if you wish. You know, you can tailor your team to be like, hey, you can't get extra APL, you know, or like, hey, if you set up your miraculous correctly with a different guy, it's like, oh, I'm going to kill your miraculous. No, you're going to kill this guy instead. And then my miraculous is going to kill you. And then when you kill my miraculous, she's not going to die. She's going to kill you again, you know, and she's going to fall back for free. And then she's going to nuke you with her melt-a-gun. Like, I mean, it's just like, bro, I don't even know. Or the leader's like, hey, I'm going to lead the procession. Oh, I'm going to fight you. Actually, you can't fight. I'm going to beat the crap out of you with my 5/5 brutal weapon. You know, it's some spicy stuff, this team.
There is, but I mean, I don't know. I think they're like a very high A.
Okay.
I don't think they're S, just because I do think they still have some solid like bad matchups.
What's a bad matchup you think?
I still think like Gormongers can rip through them pretty well. I think their ability to just have a lot of fighting twice, ignoring the priest guy. You just ignore him. You kill everyone around the priest guy. We don't talk about him, right? Because he's obviously the big elephant in the room saying
He is. Yeah.
I think teams that can really get in there, like cults, where they don't really care what model's doing it, as long as models are going and killing. I think they can really push in, especially with, you know, the turn 2. If you set up 2 torments, one of them's going to start killing models, and if one of them gets that good double kill, you know, then you have to deal with that guy, and it can snowball out of control a little bit. It's map
Plague Marines are also probably pretty decent into them. They have damage reduction, they're tanky, they're hard to kill, and they have poison, and you have like 7 reboots, right?
Yeah, so I think they do have some counters. But again, I haven't played them. I could be talking right out of my butt, and I'll openly admit that one.
What do you think, Alex?
As you said, it's hard to tell. Never played against them. Saw them being
Alex,
played
you
before.
Literally saw them on stream.
That's what I'm saying. Saw them played before the nerf, right? Yeah, every time I saw them played by you guys or some other battle reports, usually it was a first turn strike with melt or something like that. So
right, which is
can't even prepare for with any other team. With that gun, I mean, now they can play like a normal kill team first turning point, which is not a big deal for them, and then they will start all the shenanigans that they still have. And the team feels like the Inquisition on release, where they just had no restraints and gave the team everything, any cool rule they could think of. The Inquisition got it. So also it comes with it being a horde team with 1 million of auras and abilities. You need to read the novel to pilot it correctly. I think that's why on your data tracker on the website you see Gormongers higher than Sanctifiers, because it takes knowledge and skill to pilot them.
Yeah,
right?
I would agree.
So they might settle in A.
Oh, I'm gonna lose my fucking mind here. What about you, Giacomo? What do you think, G?
Absolute S.
Okay, so we have
Absolute
a 2-2 tie.
S.
We have a 2-2 tie. I don't know how
Like-
I didn't
like-
think about this.
like I you know, there's obviously the matchups that are good into them. Of course, I think any team is going to have some kind of counter, right? But the tool set is like some teams are a single Lego box that you can only build so many options. Sanctifiers are the whole big like 2,000 piece bucket that has a billion different options. And so, you know, and when the nerf happened, they took like 4 options away. So you still have like, you know, 1,996 options left. So like, it's really not that much of a problem. And better people than me will play them, you know, and they will learn the secrets if they don't already know them. And they're just going to be like, yeah, I know my weaknesses, but I'm going to make sure you never get to play them. I will exploit yours. And I just think they're gonna just keep rising the ranks, you know.
That's fair. I used to have this conversation with Jimmy. I was like, dude, Sanctifiers are cracked. He's like, nah, dude. And then I had a conversation with him recently. And he was like, dude, they're cracked. I was like,
I told you. So how do we break this tie?
So I think that since both of them think that they're A tier and we think they're S tier, I think we put them in S, but we'll put them at the back of S, and then we can discuss from there if that makes any sense.
Sure, if it tends to fall.
I mean,
and
I
if
could be
S
swayed with S for Sanctifier, I'm just saying.
Okay, there you go. S for Sanctifiers. Hey,
S
easy.
for
That checks out.
I'm gonna make this episode really easy. I'm gonna.
Now, what's interesting as well, every data slate so far has had about 6 to 7 teams in the sub 40% win rates. It has gotten better since release, but they've only had about 4 to 5 teams in the S tier, which is above the 55% win rate. And speaking of which, all the elf teams were like 50s and like like low 50s to high 40s, and a lot of them got nerfs. So I'm really expecting them to drop a lot of teams just to drop to B tier just because they got a lot of nerfs, because specifically, you know, we'll get to that. Brood Brothers. Can anyone remind me? I asked Giacomo this on his birthday. Obviously, remember everyone, today's Giacomo's birthday.
Put it in the comments.
Put it in the comments.
Well, at the time of this recording.
Yeah. Brood Brothers was 110% the next highest winning team. They had a 60% win rate. It's mostly because of games in Spain. I don't see a ton of Brood Brother players in the US, but I don't remember if they had any kind of significant nerf or even if they got a nerf at all. That's the hard thing, trying to remember 40 teams, even content creators or TOs or whatever. Like today I got asked some sort of like Phobos thing, and I was like, oh yeah, you know, like you just gotta take a second.
To
I
my
looked at the
knowledge,
team
I
today.
don't think Brood Brothers. Who's the team that came with them? Was it Jaegers?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jaegers.
Brood Brothers and Jaegers.
I think
Yeah.
neither team has taken any nerfs specifically, you know, excluding like addition changes, because they were too new at the time when they released, and then I think when this edition released, they just weren't a focus at all, or you know, they were Jaegers, and obviously they weren't good.
Was the medic patch this patch, or was that the last one?
This was this.
Last one.
Yeah,
Le-
but
was
that's like a universal. That's not like
That's a universal
super
medic, yeah.
nerf.
So that means they did get a couple, but they're all blue. So that was just mostly clarifications.
Okay. And the team is strong.
I think they're still S tier. Giacomo, you just played against them recently on Friday.
Yeah, dude,
Melty, right?
playing the like against the Magus is just it feels painful. Like your piercing doesn't work, your reduction of APL doesn't work. They're never considered injured. Like what's going on? It's not even an aura like the rest of the guys. You just get it.
It's just vibes.
It's just the vibes in the battlefield. Oh, and not to mention, you know, like you can almost take down an elite if you just roll really hot with your dice. And rolling hot is because I stunned you, and now I got to roll a 2 or higher, a 3 or higher, which is still really strong. And you just mess up some people.
Yeah, it was interesting. I actually spoke to Lazarus when these guys were being played in Spain, and he beat Gormongers. It was on release, right? The tournament. But he said that he thinks that Brood Brothers might be a soft counter to Gormongers. I'm not really sure. I found that Brood Brothers typically struggle into like melee hordes like Fellgor, but maybe it's because they have 2 less operatives. And when you use the Magus against Gormongers, you're really forcing them to use their Gore tanks inefficiently, rather than them doing whatever they want. You know, you're being like, okay, this guy has to be 3 APL. So he even just goes to 2 APL. Now, Orion, have you gotten any Gormonger games in?
Yes, I have.
Have you played Brood Brothers?
I have not played Brood Brothers, but played against a shitload of stun grenades from like Phobos. Similar feel. I can say if you are forcing Gormongers to use their tanks out of necessity rather than excess, you know, the team kind of falters a little bit because it's like, yeah, you can stun them and they can still do something, but
Mhm.
their thing is they need to do more. They need to go above and beyond.
Right.
And if they're not doing that, what are Gormongers really doing besides maybe killing 2 models and then dying, because they're still weak models at the end of the day.
Mhm.
Yeah, they got little t-shirt saves, and their little leather harnesses aren't going to save them.
Nope.
Yeah. I wish Brood Brothers was a loyalist team, but they're filthy Xenos. Alex, what do you think about Brood Brothers?
They're cool. Looks like every time I think about them, I think wrong things about them because everybody's playing Magus and nothing else.
Okay.
I'm trying to see if there's potential in the what's the other guy's called?
The
Patriarch? Patriarch is good
Patriarch
into like Fellgor and
the
a few
other
others.
dude.
The
Yeah,
dude with
they
the
have-
pistols.
The dude with the
Yeah.
pistols, yes.
A
Yeah.
really ugly guy. He's like the ugliest model I've
Yeah,
ever seen.
that manipulates your rerolls as well and gives you CP.
Essentially 14 free command points if we calculated it right throughout the
What?
game.
What?
Yeah, something like that. Like it's like an insane. It's probably not 14, maybe 10. But even 10 command points or something is just nuts that you're getting for free because you just get to do it.
What are you
don't-
even talking about?
There was someone we were talking about, and we were talking about how like it's essentially because of the way he works, it's like you're getting all these free abilities.
Okay.
And so it's like you're using those command points. It's like when
Gotcha.
Ratlings take no Ogrins and you just get 12 command points in the game essentially because you just keep getting to spend one for free. Like that's just good.
So this guy allows you to use 1 AP, you gain a CP, and then he can either do 2 fight or 2 shoot actions, and then you can either add 1 to your initiative roll, or you can re-roll if you didn't have initiative in the previous tournament turning point, you can re-roll it. So yeah, that's like another CP. So it's about 8, you know? Okay.
It's not bad.
Definitely not bad.
Yeah.
Definitely not bad. So
But
I'm saying S tier.
I'm saying S tier.
They had 60% win rate last time, and they're the only thing that they're going to have problems with is Sanctifiers and Gormongers, in my opinion.
What do y'all think?
It's one I haven't seen too often played.
And this is not an American choice yet. And maybe we're behind the 8 ball on this one.
I don't know. I think in general, Brood Brothers has seen a lot of success overseas, but not in America. Even when Brood Brothers were good when they were played last edition, but they still just weren't really seen too much. Like I do think they are still like the Magus is good, but it's not like the best protection versus certain teams.
Mm-hmm.
Like they do still die to a lot of bolter fire. Like I feel like a team like Phobos can really take advantage of them.
Phobos is another strong team. Yeah.
Phobos. We'll get to Phobos. I could be swayed for S. I think they're in a solid A because I don't think they are. I don't think they're doing 1,000,001 things that are just like unfair to your opponent. And I think looking at universally, there are going to be a lot of players that take different people or take different operatives for the wrong versus the wrong teams. And I think that can bring it down because really that's what makes or breaks each Brood Brother apart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is which leader did you take versus his team on this map? And there are, like with Blades, there are wrong choices to be made.
Yeah.
So I think that keeps it below S, even though, win rates may suggest that it's really high. I think if a lot of players picked it up, I think the team would be A.
That's fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think if a lot of people did start playing the team, especially like, I think the higher the popularity you get, it would probably drop it in percentage points win rate, probably. What do you think, Alex?
Yeah, I agree with that logic. I wouldn't put them in S just for other reason because the meta will probably be infested with Sanctifiers and Gormongers for the near future.
I'm still putting them in S.
Please do.
I'm just saying that's where I put them. I don't think the team hasn't been like super popular. All the Vetguard players have tried to go back to Vetguard, and the other shooty team, Horde people are probably going to move to Pathfinders. I just don't know if Brood Brothers are going to be like extremely popular.
Pathfinders? What are you smoking?
I'm just saying.
We can go to Pathfinders right now if you want. That's a D tier still.
No
D-tier.
way. No, this guy. This guy.
Well, let's finish Brood Brothers first.
I'm gonna have an aneurysm.
I thought we
over
did
here.
Bernards.
I think we're putting them. I still say S. I think they
I
got the
say A,
toolkit
but
too.
you three say S, and I'm fine with that.
I think Alex said A.
I'm saying
Yeah.
A as well.
Yeah, see, you guys
So
should
the
make
ba-
up. You guys
so-
agree on everything.
So the back. Okay, so we
love
put
Orion.
Sanctifiers. We put Sanctifiers there. We'll put.
Okay,
We'll put
all right, we'll relinquish.
Brood Brothers top of A. How about that?
Okay.
Okay, top
Okay.
of A. And if A gets too big, maybe we can move them up. We'll have to see. So apparently we're moving to Pathfinders,
Okay,
which is right here.
there you go.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Where are we putting these bad boys?
Why do you guys think they're good?
Because they got really strong buffs. I also think that you can Shasla GA2 people get accurate, balanced, and you get accurate one, balanced, and you get one other buff when you have 2 marker lights on a homie. So you can move a guy up, do that, or you can shoot into close combat with a 4 or 5 weapon, hitting on accurate ones now and then you get bonded. Like, the team has so much more synergy going for it. I've always thought the team was pretty decent. In fact, I started building Pathfinders just to prove, like, everyone in the comments are like, Pathfinders suck. I literally started making veteran guardsmen with like towel weapons and stuff just to be like, hey guys, Pathfinders don't suck, And now with these buffs, I think we're cooking. I think they're cooking with
He's
the greater
cooking
good.
with gas.
With holy
With the greater
good
gas.
oil. Good oil.
Brother,
You
they're
know?
cooking with butter spray, and you know it.
No, they're 4 or
there's-
5 damage. How do we keep saying this?
I'm looking
Listen,
forward to that
I
battle
think
report.
they really excelled in the previous edition with lots of objectives with your opponent really forcing to go all over the place, and they took advantage of that. Now with the marker
Okay.
lights dropping off, like, they're not a bad shooting team, and I wouldn't put them in D tier. That's a bit of a jest. But when I look at the other shooting options for teams, like,
What, you think
Why would I
Vet
pick
Guard are
Vet-
better? They're 2,
Uh,
3 damage weapons?
no, I don't think Vanguard are better. I think they're holding hands in C tier.
Oh, okay.
Because I do think Vetguard have more consistency in all reality.
They do?
Because Pathfinder's consistency is conditional on your opponent doing something. Because marker lights aren't quite what they used to be. But like we were just talking about Brood Brothers. Like, why would I take Pathfinders over Brood Brothers? They have similar consistency, but they have more flexibility in like anti-melee threats or anti-like stun on your opponent.
Mhm.
Pathfinders have the same tools they did previously, except they're worse. And there's less objectives to actually abuse with your model advantage.
Or maybe you could just in the thought, you can really secure 2 objectives hard,
Mhm. With
and
4 or
then
5
just
damage
and
weapons.
then just never let your opponents get them, which means they could just control the 2, and now they don't got to worry about coming in the backfield and protecting that.
I don't think it works like that, though, because I think that forces your guys to more clump up in areas, which makes you more susceptible to a lot of charges. Like when
Okay.
you look at something like with Gormongers versus Pathfinders, ignoring the grab inhibitor because that makes things weird. Like the Gormongers are going to get into those lines, and you can't kill them with one single shot from a Pathfinder.
I would agree.
That's
I would
true.
agree with
You're right. You're right. Yeah.
Gormongers are a special ding dong treat. Okay, like that team.
I mean, that's just one though. Like you have Cults, you have Gellerpox. Like both of these teams have a lot more heavy cover to play with, and marker lights don't change that anymore. They're
Okay.
like these teams can move up the board, on Vulcus relatively easy to get to your front lines. Guess what? If you block the doors, I can still door fight. Like that's a new thing that exists. You're on vantages, cool. I'm gonna climb the ladders. Like
The other
I think
thing
there's
is,
there's more options to get into Pathfinder lines than there used to be.
I think that Pathfinders are going to be a lot better in Europe, and I'll tell you guys why. I think another reason why we don't see a lot of Brood Brothers teams is that a lot of Brood Brothers players, or a lot of people in America, use our LVO maps for their events, like Richmond and quite a few other events. But in in Europe, they use a lot of GW maps, right? A lot of those big, really open rooms. I couldn't imagine playing on those over and over and over.
Oh yeah, for Into the Dark.
And Brood Brothers are automatically better on those. So is Vetguard, and so are Pathfinders, right? So like, I definitely think that Orion has a point when he says that the 3 super melee teams are going to crush Pathfinders on Volcus. I think that definitely could be a thing. But I do think that they have a little bit more play than I think we've ever given them credit for. But that is just me. You know, I can be overruled.
Said I have played Pathfinders since the Balanced Data Slate.
Oh.
I've seen them played twice so far.
Mhm.
And I played them versus them with my Vespids. The game ended turn 2 with no Pathfinders left alive.
Well,
and then
that
the
is
other
you
one-
versus. Okay.
I mean, sure, it was on Into the Dark though, like a traditional Into
Okay.
the Dark.
All right.
And then the other one was Wreckas versus Pathfinders, and the Wreckas just cleared through their lines, like they were butter. It was a
Really?
closer game when I was watching that one, but still, the Pathfinders had a tough time really cracking a lot of the orcs, especially when they healed again and kept just a scratch online.
That's crazy. I played Rekkas recently too, and the Vetguard rolled them pretty handily.
I'm telling you, Vetguard has the consistency when the opponent is coming towards you, and I think that's part of the reason why I kind of like Vetguard, because they can have a place where they're guaranteed things. Pathfinders have some things, but it's not all guaranteed, and you have to spend CP for a lot of it. Like, you have to invest pretty heavy into Bonded to be functional a lot of the times, I think. But that's just my 2-game experience so far. Again, not like it was like a world-class Pathfinder player. Like, we're not looking at Travis across the table. So
Travis, Mike Cortez, John Reese are all the big.
I still feel like they're in C, because I think, again, when you look at the average Pathfinder player, even at their peak, there were still only a few standout Pathfinder players, as to where most Pathfinder players didn't perform very well. So I think when you're looking at game averages in the future, because we're talking about win rates, I don't think they'd get out of the C or B range at best.
It's going to be interesting because the past few data slates, I think they have a total of 50 games total competitively since the start of the edition. I think they're easily going to reach that, because they definitely are like a way better than they used to be. Alex, you've been quiet for quite some time. What do you think about Pathfinders?
Because I've been yapping.
Well, yeah, and he's reading my mind, actually. He said it all. Extrapolating my experience from playing shooty teams with absolutely no melee, the current edition maps are not favored for them, unless you play on those busted Into the Dark open maps where they're clearly favored towards shooting teams and biased, against melee teams. But when a shooting team is a good shooting team but has absolutely no melee, it's going to go down no matter what. It's how Kasrkin play, it's how Pathfinders probably play, because there's nowhere to hide, and your Seek Light might as well not exist,
Yeah, there's a lot of heavy in this edition.
Yeah.
G, where are you putting them?
I mean, they kind of convinced me. Like in the maps that exist, even with all these buffs, like, yeah, I guess if you never give them a chance to shoot you, like, or even like kind of shoot you to get your marker lights off, then nothing happens to the team, right? So yeah, I'd put them in like C.
Well, I guess
Yeah,
the consensus is C then. That is
C.
definitely not what I wanted to do. C. Let's move this over here. All right. There we go. Cool. All right. We have Pathfinders in C tier, and I have royally messed this up. Let me try
That's
to fix
fine,
this,
though.
everyone. I
Right, you're
apologize.
get
just
it
making
all.
your own tier for the Wreckas to go in. I know what you're doing.
W
Yeah.
tier?
Did you say W tier?
W tier?
Yeah, you were just moving the screen around, making a void so we could put Wreckas in it.
yeah, they exist where the kill team sign is, not inside the blue.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Again, I still think they have the special tier. If they could be anything they want.
That's what I mean.
I still
Nothing
think
has
it's
changed for
true.
them.
I've played some games where like they absolutely die, and then there's times where they absolutely kill me. Like it's never kind of been close. It's always been one or the other.
So next up is AOD. AOD had literally 1/8 or almost 10% of all games last edition were played on Angels of Death. They are one of the most popular factions, and they had about a 43% win rate. I easily still think that they're B tier team, even though they trended to be in this like in our C category, just because they are a really popular team. You're probably going to go 50-50 if you go to an event, go to a tournament. I easily think they're B tier, the quintessential B tier team. But I mean, like, who's bringing the sniper anyways? Like the sniper's okay, but
the sniper's great. He has Seek Light, and you just put him on a thing, and he is the camper.
We just said there is no light terrain on the board, homie. Just bring a chainsaw guy and just go murder somebody with a chainsaw. That's how you play Angel of Death.
Like, also, he's in Phobos armor. He can move 7 inches to go collect your objective. I would do that so often. Just have him run and go do it. Because you can also take your big beefy boy, and he's moving with his heavy weapon. Now he can't triple shoot in a turn anymore like he used to. Unless you stand perfectly still. That was a good time, though. I'm
pretty sure my build out for them is going to be 5 Assault Intercessors and then the Grenadier guy.
Which is totally viable, too. Absolutely viable. That was a classic from last edition.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still think they're in B. They're not like near the front of B, maybe in the middle of B, which is fine. They're perfectly in the middle.
And still do the same thing.
Yeah.
Breachers, huh? Breachers up next?
Okay.
Are we done with AOD?
No, you're good. Yeah, that's fine.
All good.
Breachers, did they they didn't get another buff, did they?
They have a door thing now.
A door thing? What are you talking about?
Yeah, they can open a door really good with accessibility, so they don't suffer the
movement. You're right. This door is greased. Yeah, we don't get any -1 to movement on this specific door.
What else did they get?
I think that's it.
They
had like a 46% win rate.
Did the cat get better?
The cat and the Geist Skull, I think, got
super conceal. Oh no,
they just got they're not. You can't score.
You can't. With them
from them as easy.
Right, because they're that is
the expendable changes.
Yeah. So in a way, that is a buff because now you can't just try to abuse the easy target.
Yeah.
I
don't know I don't think that. I mean, they had a 46% win rate. They weren't like they have not been a super popular team. When they first released, they were a very popular team, but now they're just like since this is past edition and them being really bad and them getting a -1 operative at the very beginning of the first Data Slate.
I think it just soured a lot of people and they just never looked back.
Yep.
Yeah.
There was a time when you could take 2 Meltas on the team, and Games Workshop did fix that.
I still always will advocate for the cat controller and the Geist Skull controller. I think that's the Voidsman. They should get their pets if you take them. Just give them their pets. Make it GA2 so that they always have to activate together. Give them their pets.
Yeah, I'd probably say B tier. What do you think, Alex?
I haven't seen them much, but from what I saw, they just want to hang back in their territory and play security. I would say B or C, one of the two.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
They're kind of durable, but not.
They're super not popular, so it's hard to know where to put them. What do you think, G?
I'm putting them in B. I think it's safe.
Okay.
Safe place for them.
How about you, Orion?
I'm going to give you the same argument I gave last time. If you want to play them and you want to play them at a high tier, you play Inquisition. I know I'm going to sound like a broken record. For that reason alone, again, despite whatever the team may be doing, I still think they're in D tier because they're just a superior way to play them.
Yeah.
People, may not like that answer, but I mean, it's the best answer statistically.
I hate that answer. I hate when you're right.
And that's the one that is the ultimate problem of Inquisition is it just takes teams that could do something and it makes them lose their identity because you're just gonna go play them there.
Yeah, no, I don't like it, but
I don't like it. Yeah. I think Inquisition should go away or get redone because
Personally,
sucks.
I think Inquisition should only have access to bespoke teams, you know, like not bespoke teams, non-bespoke teams. So like Sisters, Scions, those kinds of things.
Hell, give them Death Watch too. Why not? Right?
Yeah. Death Watch would be sick.
Yeah.
Or like give them like one Custode or something like that. No, Custode doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no, they would take Death Watch would be there for sure.
Yeah, Custodes don't make sense.
And then now they can have an elite build, you know?
Are we saying C or D tier? I don't think they're going to be sub 40. I don't think the team's actually that bad. I think the team's okay. They're good at what they do, right? They if you get into their territory, they want to move up and they want to shoot you with their little shotguns or attack you with their melee profiles. They get damage reductions. The team is pretty good. I don't think you're going to do great if you take them to a tournament. You're probably going to go 50-50, you know, but I don't know if you're going to go above a winning record. It's possible, but they're so unpopular. I haven't seen them played, period. And I also have zero interest in building them. Gee, I know you were planning on building this team with little underwater helmets.
Yeah.
Has that plan disappeared?
It totally has.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to put them in the D tier, which is irrelevant.
Yeah, it's not because the team is bad. I think it's just because there's a better way to play them, and it's not playing Breachers.
Well, then I think still, because based on how we're doing the tier list, though, they would still probably fall into at least high C, right? Because them themselves could do some stuff.
Like, I suppose. I don't think they're going to have enough.
Right, Inquisition aside, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I still think they're actually a C tier team, but it's better if we put them in D tier, in my opinion.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. We need to fill up the ranks.
I'd say, D with an asterisk.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Wrecka Krew up next. Wrecka Krew is doing pretty decent. They have like a 48% win rate, so it's just like right on the top B tier almost.
Yeah, now they're pushing into A. Like, so we put them in between the B and the A.
Just depends on your dice, you know. So you're gonna have good dice 50% of the time and bad dice 50% of the time. The other 50% of the time they're gonna be average. Why is there 150% in my equation? I don't know. I'm not good at math.
It's a very reactive team, right? Like at least the way I've seen people play them, it's they wait for people to come to them and then they absolutely crush them.
Yeah, they're definitely not a team where there's tons and tons of planning. Also, as you're saying, they're reactive. A lot of times, like, oh, I ran up, I killed that guy because I rolled a bunch of 6s. Okay, well, I have another APL. I guess I'll just move this way. You know, they're a very unpredictable team, and if your mind kind of works that way, and you're just like, I'm just going at it, they're probably a decent team, you know, just for you.
Yeah. I think should we just put them in the general area of A and B somewhere in that middle, like before?
I think they're holding hands with the Starties.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like that's right. They're holding hands.
Both teams still have a level of predictability, but good dice can win them a game. Bad dice can lose them a game. Without much wiggle room because the teams are very honest.
Okay, yeah, B feels right. B feels right. I like B for them.
Sounds good.
So next we have Farstalkers. Now
it's the Orion special.
Orion. You played these guys at Worlds massively. Have they piqued your interest to finally go back? Are they?
No. Just a flat no.
Never.
Yeah, I feel you with that. I'm right there with that guard. They've done me too dirty.
It wasn't even Worlds that specifically did it for me. It's just they don't. There's just better teams to play that do different things. I don't think this team, despite getting some good buffs in the previous things, they have the tools to theoretically win. But I don't think reality, the metas currently, are going to favor them at all. I think Sanctifiers with their flamers are going to rip through them. I think Gormongers are going to rip through Cults, Gellerpox. Like all these teams are going to
Brood Brothers.
Still,
yeah. Farstalker is going to be great in certain people's hands. People that can play this team amazingly. You know, you go to an event that you one trick a Farstalker. Sure, you could definitely go positive. But I think the general population, if you just like, it's crazy. Like you guys were saying, Inquisition is like breachers. Like the better way to play them is this, right? Farstalker's almost like there are other, like what Orion said, there are other teams that do exactly what they do, but better. The only reason why you play Farstalkers is because they're crew. And they have dogs.
Yeah, and
right?
you really want to piss your opponent off by poaching objectives.
If your tournament is going to have a lot of crazy objectives or something like that, sure. Let's say if a new approved ops deck comes out, right, and there's a bunch of stuff, sure they could like jump in the win rate. Like who knows? But currently in this approved ops and all that kind of stuff, I think that they're middle of C tier, maybe bottom of C.
Yeah, I think C's pretty appropriate for them.
What about you, Alex?
Sounds fair to put them in C. They're cool. I even had the team. I like the rules, but it's just they're missing something. They're either dying too quick or not able to fight well. It's always something, this team.
They're very difficult to play. Very difficult. Do you guys think that they're below Pathfinders?
I think they're
Pathfinders
kind of in
might
about the same spot, personally. Okay. Obviously, I think Pathfinders have a few more tools to help out with certain matchups. The problem is with like Brute is they have a lot of operatives, but they don't really change the game plan that much. And if you shift into a team that you're, either unfamiliar with or have a difficult time with, you can't really plan to fix that. Because again, all the operatives don't do anything dynamic enough to really shift the game plan.
I think if you're a really high level player, like Shane from Command Point has played Farstalkers with great success. If you're really comfortable with this team, you could probably take it to an event and you'll do relatively well. But like, we saw Shane bring Fellgor to Adepticon and win because,
they're Fellgor.
They're just better. Right?
Yeah, so he could have brought Krew to that event and he chose not to because the faith isn't really there.
Right.
The team can beat, I think, any team, but it's going to take some really good play. You can't mess up.
And dice rolls. It's going to take a little bit of luck sometimes.
Yeah.
So let's put them in C tier. I think we're all relatively okay with that. It's relatively safe.
Like,
next up is
hey with it. I wish they were better, but
that's fair. We have Gormongers up next. I believe that is our second S tier team since we didn't put Brood Brothers there. I think that the team is really, 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 really good. In fact, before Gormongers came out at our 38-person event in SoCal, we had Jeshua Kelly fighting James Robinson, right? For first place, one was playing Colts, one was playing WarpCoven. Our very next event with 35, they were playing for first, and whoever lost would go down to fourth. Again, they were both playing Gormongers. They both jumped off Colts and WarpCoven and just jumped right to Gormongers. I think that easily tells you where the competitive headspace is for a lot of these teams, a lot of these players. A lot of people are
just good competitive players, though, right?
Agreed.
Usually, if they're
Yes.
playing an event, they're doing well.
They're doing well.
Yeah, I think
But
Colts easily could have got either one of them there too.
Right. They just put the trust into Gormongers that was going to do the job.
Yeah, I think,
and they were kind of right.
Good, but I don't think they're S.
I'm in an A boat.
You're in an A boat?
Yeah.
I'm in an A boat.
Yeah, I'm in an A
think
boat.
they're not going to be above 55% win rate? What?
I'm in the S boat, Dakotah. I'm with you.
You're okay. So now, okay, I got Alex on my side. Alex Popov. Shout out to Alex Popov and shout out to Orion.
Yeah, shout out to Orion. He's on my side.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Maybe our patrons can. Okay, I'm gonna go to this one and let me go to. We are recording this episode live for our patrons. If you guys are interested in watching these podcasts live, feel free to join our Patreon. We try to stream it every Monday. Sometimes we might switch to a Tuesday or something like that. Dave, okay, there's been a lot of talk over here. It's mostly David and Matt. Can our patrons break the tie? I don't want to have to put them in A tier or S tier. Fucking David, you're dead to me. You're dead to me.
He put him in A. He put him in A. Did he?
You are dead to me, David.
That sounds like an A.
Sets.
That is an
He
A.
said he's on
That
the
is.
G train.
Oh
my
yeah, G tier. Hell yeah, let's go.
Oh my god.
I take you to the Star Space and party. Hell yeah.
All right. Fair. Fine. And they're also saying happy birthday to you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, but Matt just tied it back up. We're
No!
back to S tier.
Let's
Let's
go,
go, Matt.
counted.
And Matt says that they feel really oppressive. All right. Now I don't know.
I mean, has he played against Sanctifiers?
I don't think he has.
Talk
You know
about
who has?
oppression.
David on one of our battle reports. He did play against me. You can find that on our Twitch channel. All right. So now we're stuck. We're all tied up. I guess in the comments below on this YouTube video, you should say S or A tier. So are we putting Gormongers in front or behind Brood Brothers? We can make the distinction.
In front. Absolutely in front. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt.
Okay.
It is a good team.
It's a great team.
But there are counters to the team, and there are only 8 models. Like, to me,
Yes, there
they're
are
like
counters. I will agree. I will agree with there are counters.
Like I still think elites can take them down because like they do some damage in shooting, then they get fought, and then they kill them in fighting. I still think they got the tools to do that too.
Elites really give them a tough time. It's not unwinnable, but it's tough.
Yeah,
right.
So
Because
you have like Plague Marines, you have possibly Chaos Cults,
Nemesis Claw,
Angels of Death with Dueler is a
it's nuts. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But also Hierotek Circle, right? Hierotek Circle can
didn't even think about them.
Can give them a they have accurate 2 when you charge them, and when they die, they actually don't die, right? They can come back, and they got a couple other nifty little ploys like they can alpha strike still really reliably. So there's some other stuff out there that they're pretty decent at. So you guys say above Brood Brothers, right? And
probably
everyone is. I swear.
We're happy with this.
You're happy with this, Giacomo.
I am.
It's your
happy with
birthday.
this.
It's your birthday. I might just use my card, my one-time card, and move
to throw them into
S tier.
S. You can if you want.
I can't because it's your birthday.
Yeah, but
okay?
then how are you going to stop me from using my card to throw Vecard in S tier?
I guess that's true.
All right. Here's the thing: if you use your card, it should be like pretty reasonable to make that connection. I don't think I'm seeing them in S tier.
I wasn't given rules when this show started.
That's true.
Yeah,
He didn't give any rules.
I can't change the rules just because he's using them if I don't
this
like
guy
it.
puts, I mean, look at this beautiful deathcore model that was painted right here. I painted this one. This was pretty. If you put him in S tier, people are just going to look at it more and be like, "Oh, what's that?" I'm not gonna complain. Okay, but I won't agree. But I'm not going to complain. Fellgor's up next. They got a bunch of nerfs. I loved their nerfs. Thank goodness. I hope the team is dead, but it's not.
Nope.
It's not dead.
Nope.
It's not dead.
It's probably what? Are we still thinking A?
Yeah, no, team's good.
Yeah, I think A. I 100% think A. Yeah. I still think the team is definitely still viable. You're still going to go doing events. Are they going to win the most events anymore? Absolutely not. They definitely won't be the number one winning team for events, but you still could take down an event or two, I think. You could definitely place, I think, with them, but I definitely think that they're not nearly as oppressive as they used to be.
Yeah, most of their nerfs were just slaps on the wrist, in my opinion, as well. So I mean,
Do you agree with that, Alex?
Yep, easily A. They finally caught up with the 2nd edition changes.
They're Emma Stone and easy A.
Nice. I like it. We have Hierotek Circle. Do we want to talk about any more things else with Fellgor? We do have 2 amazing Fellgor players. Orion last edition took a bunch of Fellgor to like 3rd at LVO. I know that Alex has played Fellgor on stream. He's played it since release. In fact, Alex has some of the most amazing. I'm not going to say the most because Orion has.
I mean, I was to say, have you seen Orion's? Like, yeah.
Look, I've seen Alex's too, though, and they're pretty cool.
They're impressive. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the Orions.
Dang, fight him.
Yeah, why don't you two fight about it?
Yeah.
You guys already fight enough behind the scenes. In fact, do you know why we brought you both on to the same? We haven't told you this. The
Drama
reason why-
alert.
Drama alert. Okay. The drama alert, why we have Orion and we have Alex on our same thing is because whenever Alex comes on, he's like, oh, I'm not going to shout out Orion. And then when Orion's on, he's like, no shout out to Alexander Popov. For Giacomo's birthday, for one day only, we ask that you guys can shout each other out.
I will think about it.
Dang, it's not even a guarantee.
Yeah, we'll see how he talks about Gellerpox in the tier list. We'll see how that goes.
We literally ambushed Orion and Alex. We didn't tell them. We both asked them to come on. We did not tell that either one was going to be on. They both actually like each other, kind of. They do, but they do. But it's very funny. Okay, me and Giacomo, we've been laughing immensely all
the
day
whole
long.
day.
Yeah, literally all day. We knew this was going to happen, and it's a magical time. Okay, Hierotek. Well, okay, you both play Fellgor. What do you guys think?
No, I agreed with A tier. I think good team, not the best team. Good team.
Cool, easy.
It's gonna win a lot.
Yeah,
but not everything.
Okay, they're gonna struggle into AOD Dueler again.
They will prey on those Pathfinders, Breachers, and whoever we discussed in C and B.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well,
they'll prey on the majority of the play base and struggle into certain teams. Yeah. We have Hierotek Circle up next. Interesting thing. I think that this team could see a resurgence. It definitely died right after Worlds with their drastic nerfs. Everyone just stopped playing the team pretty much entirely. But this team does have play into both Sanctifiers and into Gormongers because of their Alpha Strikes. They don't die. They come back. It could be a sideways counter nerf. I don't play the team personally, but this is what I've been hearing from other competitive players in the scene. I do think that the team is still pretty good. Being able to stop people's kill op is really strong. It just depends, I think, on their general play rate, if any top players believe in the team and start to play them too. Otherwise, I still think they're probably a B tier team because I don't know if they can rise the ranks unless if somebody really dedicated picks them up. What do you guys think?
See, B makes sense because if we're looking at it like, yeah, they might be able to dunk on a couple of the S and A tiers, but if they can't dunk on everyone else, like it won't matter. They'll get squashed by someone else, right? So I think sitting in B is still pretty solid. You know, reanimation's always like it's not a crutch, that's the wrong word. It's what is it when you're like you can make it's forgiving. You can be like, yeah, it's forgiving. Like you could die and it's like that's okay. I'm gonna come back next turn and it's it's not the end of the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I'll let Alex go first as a sign of good faith.
Alex.
Thank you. I appreciate that. This is a literal swing of Kill Team, that they've been changed so many times. I've lost track of what they do now.
They still come
sort of magic,
He's so not wrong.
probably, and resurrect all the time.
Yep.
Yeah, it's hard to tell where they could be. No clue, honestly. Put them in the middle, B.
All
Okay.
right, I immediately regret my mistake. I'm sorry, everybody. That was not helpful.
There you go.
What about you, Orion? Where are you putting them?
They're good. I think Shane's been tearing up a little bit of local scenes. And I think he went up to the Canada event with Hierotek and did pretty well. I think he got a loss and a tie at like a 8-round event.
Oh,
Not
wow.
bad. Not bad.
Yeah, no, the team's got some legs. I wouldn't put him any lower than B.
Yeah.
It is a very hard team to play, and I think good players can take it to A. I don't think they can take it to S, but I think they can take it to A, and I think bad players will play them at B.
Which is
So
still
I would
solid.
say, on average, I think they'd be B, like top of
Yeah.
B.
Yeah, I think that if you take Hierotek Circle, they're innately so difficult and so tricky. You're probably going to go 50-50 as long as you have a good grasp on the team. But, what I say, if you ever go to a tournament, you ever go to a game store, you should know your team's rules, right? Like, unless you're just going to play your homies, or ladies, is definitely a team that before you go to an event, you're definitely going to want to have some experience because they do have some pretty complicated rules.
Yeah. Yeah, B's good for them.
I think like right in the middle of B tier.
Feels right.
Okay, so we have Nemesis Claw up next. Giacomo, you play quite a bit of Nemesis Claw.
Yeah.
You have very pretty Nemesis Claw. In fact, this is one of them.
Yeah.
Maybe I can go to one of these. That is not the right one.
Yo,
that
it's
is
his
not
face.
The right one.
It's
That
a
is also
dice.
not.
Yo.
There we go. Found one. Found it. We're gonna go here, and then I'm gonna zoom in. Look how pretty that guy is.
Wow, I can't. Oh, right, it's a
Damn.
PNG. That's why I can be zoomed in and still look nice.
Hell yeah, dude! And we're in a vector program.
That's
Look at
right.
this.
It's a vector program.
Yeah,
Oh, I
that's
love
nice.
vectors. Superior to the JPEG.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun painting those guys. They're fun.
Let's try to get
So
Yeah.
pretty.
Yeah, I don't want to paint anymore. I only painted the 6. So realistically, like the smart thing to do would be to paint the Melta, and I haven't done that.
Okay,
Where do you-
we're back.
Where do they sit?
I think they're a great A tier. They're one of the
Mhm.
best
I would agree.
Marine teams.
Mhm.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Them and Plague Marines are probably the two best Marine teams in my opinion. I don't know about the after the new Plague Marines nerfs, but I think that Orion would probably know better.
I do.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah,
he does.
because Nemesis Claw can like fight pretty strong in melee. That's kind of like their forte. Their shooting is still
They-
nothing to scoff about,
They did get a rather major nerf in this one
for
They
ITD
used-
boards.
ITD boards. They used to use the slinking darkness ploy or whatever it's
Yeah,
called.
Return to
and they-
Darkness.
Return to Darkness. They can jump up the board 4 inches and then dash, so that they're 7 inches up the board, and then they just run up, open a door, and throw a big blast that you're not expecting into your team with or a missile launcher or something like that. So definitely needed. I think that was definitely the intent, but it was so rules is written. As a TO, I couldn't be like, no, that doesn't work.
Right.
That
'cause-
does enough in my time. I've done it enough.
Yeah, it's and also suffering from the heavy change, right?
Mhm.
I think all elite teams that are like all Marine elite teams with heavy are going to suffer from that.
Absolutely.
So yeah, they're still solid. Like you'll have a really good time if you take the team to a tournament. You'll have a lot of fun because you'll do pretty good. And again, you're an elite team, so you could still like take shots and not worry too much if you're absolutely exposed.
They
Absolutely.
don't go higher than A because they are really susceptible to hot rolls, like just deleting them.
Yeah, they don't have a way to say I ignore injury for this turn or anything. So like you still
No
suffer.
damage reduction. Yeah.
Nothing. Yeah, you still suffer the whole time. So, so watch out for that. A is perfect for them. In fact, actually, where they are, I think I like it too in the tier.
Alex, what do you think? Have you gotten a fight?
Absolutely a. They play a dice game too much to BS, but they have the control tools like skipping activation, banning somebody else's activation.
The
Even just a scratch of the leader.
ventrilocar.
Yeah, that guy with the guy on a stick.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They got tools, but if you get diced, you will probably have no way to recover from that.
You should bring yours out. You haven't brought yours out in a while.
They need to be painted.
Paint
So
them and then
next-
we'll play.
Next up, we have Mandrakes. Mandrakes. This is a picture that Alex. This is Alex's model. He let us take pictures of. Alex,
yeah.
where are you putting Mandrakes? Considering
Probably
I own some, but I've never played them.
probably the weakest elf team. I don't know. We didn't see any. Oh no, there's Blades of Khaine. Probably below Blades of Khaine.
Below Blades of Khaine. Okay, so you think the same as Orion. Orion last time made them also the weakest elf team. I don't know if I agree with that still, but Corsairs definitely got a nerf. What do you think, Orion?
I think all the elf teams are really close now. I think
they're all B tier personally.
I think Harlequins are still kind of up there.
Yeah. Oh, I guess.
They didn't,
Double hit.
Yeah, they didn't get really hit this time. But,
Yeah.
I
Dude,
think
I
they're-
always forget that Harlequins even exist.
Yeah, I think
I
Harlequins
know.
are a step above the rest of the elf teams now, especially with all the rough changes that the other elf teams got. Kind
Dude.
of unjustifiably.
Yeah,
I would
Corsairs
agree.
came out so scathed. Like, it was really unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely tell, like, Games Workshop obviously has to write their balanced data slates in advance. We don't know how far in advance, right? They have to. Just because, like, Corsairs were doing really well, and then, like, they got a nerf, but they only had they had like an exact 50% win rate. And in my opinion, I don't know why I understand nerfing teams that need cheese, right? They nerfed Hearthkin Salvagers when they didn't need one because they were super cheesy. So maybe it's more of a recent nerf than we know of, like at the time that they write them. But I mean, I could imagine them taking a long time to translate into all the languages and into, all the apps and all that kind of business. I don't know.
So I think the teams, going into that, I think the teams did need a little bit of a hit, like the Corsairs and whatnot.
Just because of the cheese?
But I think the things that got addressed on a lot of the teams, especially Hand of the Archon, was catching strays left and right for no reason. I think the things that could have been addressed didn't really, or they did and then some got addressed. Like, I think the Shade Runner getting toned down was fine.
Agreed.
And like some of the damage reduction on the Corsairs, I think the Psyker was fine. But I think there were some other things that just didn't need to be changed, or give them something in return. That's one of the things I always like. If there's something that's relying on cheese, maybe you give them a little buff here, but you take away the big thing.
Yeah, it's what I would have loved to see with Salvagers. I think Salvagers are definitely bottom of the bucket right now for me. But I guess we'll just do we'll do the elf teams real quick. So Corsairs definitely got, I think, an undeserved nerf. Like you said, I agree with some of the nerfs. The Shade Runner teleporting through into the dark walls.
Yeah, it was the cheese. That's really what it was,
But they had a 50% win rate and they got relatively large nerfs. Do I think they depended on those nerfs to win games? No. I still think they're probably 48%, maybe 47% win rate. I could be wrong, but I definitely think that they definitely got nerfed. I would definitely put them probably near the top of B tier. What do you guys think?
I think all the elf teams are in B tier, pretty much right next to each other, with maybe
except for
bottom of A. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So would you put Corsair Void Scars in front of Blades of Khaine?
Putting them in front, no, but I mean,
I think Blades are better than Corsairs personally.
Yeah, at this point, probably, but just by a little bit. Really,
it's such a small margin. You're absolutely right with all the elves being close, because every elf team still has like a gimmick and a pretty good ability. And
where are we putting Hand of the Archon? We'll run into Hand.
We'll just run in the Hand.
Hand of the Archon. Do you
Power from Pain is cool.
Yeah, but like they lost the Ceaseless on their.
Mm-hmm.
Was it the attack dice and defense dice for pain tokens?
Probably. It's been a minute since I've looked at it.
Yeah, it has been like 2 weeks.
And
things just blur together when you've been making kill team content for years.
One of your dice now from the Power from Pain.
Yeah, so the survivability in there, but the reliability is gone.
Do you think that they're worse than Mandrakes?
I think.
And I don't know. I also know that they suck in the Gormongers. Gormongers does everything that they want to do, but better.
Yeah, so I think in order it goes Corsairs, Mandrakes, Hand now.
Okay.
That's my take on it.
And then there's only one more elf team, which is Void Dancers, and I also agree that they are an A tier.
Just throw them in A.
But they do struggle into Nem Claw for sure, so I will definitely keep that there. I'll fix all this later. Okay. So next up, we have Chaos Cult.
Ooh.
I think Chaos Cult is A. Just like I did last time. And there were some people in this call with me right now that disagreed with me.
I'm sorry. I was not familiar with your game.
But now you know, Giacomo.
Now I
you
know the power of Chaos Cults again.
The cult, they are here. Alex, I want to see what you think. We didn't get your thoughts on Chaos Cult last time. What do you think, man?
I haven't encountered them,
Okay.
but I saw how far they've got. And apparently they indeed are strong when you have a lot of torments. Apparently that works.
Yeah, 2 torments. Jeez.
2 torments, literally anybody can turn torment any moment. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, they're gonna, like Fellgor, they're gonna prey on all those teams that have no answer to melee at all, and maybe even more. So A is totally justifiable for them.
Let's get Orion's thoughts. I think they're going into A no matter what now. Orion is upset over here.
Where do you think they go?
I think they're a solid B. Team is great. I'm not disputing that, but do we really think they're better than like Hierotek and all the like Angels of Death? I don't think so. I think the team still has a lot of counters. I think if you know how to play against Cult, that's the big deal. I think a lot of players right now don't know how to play against melee hordes, and they're just feeling the effects of it because they didn't have to. We went through pretty much, the first quarter entirely void of them, and now, they're suddenly back. Cults did also take a nerf on this list, by the way, which
their torments can't throw crack grenades,
which is a big deal.
That's true.
And I'll tell you,
I don't think we saw it out here at all.
So for me, playing Gellerpox, because they didn't get that nerf, a lot of times when people take stun grenades against you, all you can do with your big guys is charge and pass.
Right.
Or if you have the CP, you can spend it to fight for cults. But what you used to be able to do then was, instead of charging, you could just huck a grenade. And sometimes that would do the same effect as charging and fighting, because crack grenades are still conditionally really strong. Now, with that not being part of the toolbox, torments are now more linear. So if they are stunned, that's all they can do is charge. So it doesn't seem like a big deal to a lot of people who don't play cults, but for someone who plays with very limited melee exclusive models, that's a big deal in my book.
Okay.
I still think they're A tier.
Look, you can put them there. I'm not going to fight you on it, but I don't think they're as good as people think they are. I think people have just decided to not use their brains when they're playing against cult.
It's fair. Did Orion's argument sway anyone?
Nope, because we're still
I'm
talking
still gonna
about
put him
right?
in A.
All right, A tier it is. Sorry, Orion.
No, that's fine.
This is a democracy here at Squad Games. That's one thing. That's one thing I like about I mean, you could use your one time to like knock them down to D tier. Just saying.
No, so I don't think it's the most egregious thing I've ever heard. And again, because like they are a good team, and I think a lot of players do struggle against them. A lot of teams have a tough time with them, but I think there are other teams that just don't.
So
Gotcha.
The
Kasrkin are up next. I'm going to say they're Kasrnauts. I'm just, are they the Kasr Kings or Kasrnauts, right? I'm on the Kasrnaut train. I think they are way better than they were. I think they needed one extra model. I think Games Workshop did everything in their everything they could not to give them +1 operative. Are they going to be sub 40 though? Because they have been sub 40 this whole time. Giacomo, you play them a lot. Do you think they're going to be sub 40? I'm struggling between C or D here.
I'm liking the changes. I think their melee is a little more reliable, even though you do have to use your whole skills for it. Like, it's just not an innate thing you have. But I don't think they're pushing too much further, right? Like I think Aquilons are better in between the two if you had to kind of like similarities. I think Kasrkin, for me, are going to sit nicely in C, and that's a big improvement from D.
That's true. Now, Alex, you played Kasrkin at LVO and did amazing with them, I might add. I think you're in the 30s out of 160 people, which was absolutely astounding for how bad we all thought they were.
Are they pretty?
What do
they are.
What do you think?
They're KasrOKs now.
KasrOKs.
They still have no good tech ops, and no way to deal with melee other than stall their opponent and just see if they make the mistake of coming to them.
See if they make the mistake.
Exactly. They're they're in C. They have
Okay.
absolutely no melee. They're incredibly fun to play, but them not having recon is just
It was what a nerf. They had it in second edition. Why would they neuter
Yeah,
them?
why wouldn't they have plant beacons? I don't know.
yeah.
Because
They
like
would
I
be
don't know.
perfect for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Orion, what do you think about the KasrOKs? That's going to be the new one, you know, KasrNots, KasrOKs, KasrKings. Who
I'm going
knows?
with the Kasr-Coulds. They could
Kasr-
win, but probably not. They
So is
like
that the C or
yeah, I think they're
Kasr
not
could. See, it
the-
starts with a C,
there
right?
you go.
Good.
Or is it? Oh, whoops. There we go.
Okay.
I keep stealing my OBS screen instead of actually taking the actual model from here. Do we think that they are better than Pathfinders and Farstalkers?
No.
Right. When it comes to shooting, Pathfinders can outshoot them, even if no matter even if you have severe and stuff.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, probably all checks out.
Yeah, 2
Worm-
shots from Pathfinders. So
Yeah. Wymblade are up next. Wymblade have done relatively okay. They've always stayed around in the between 50 and 45% win tier. They're not a super popular team, but the people that do play them pretty good, like Anthony from the West Coast. And then you have a couple of the Rail Splitter Ruffians out Midwest. Still looks to be maining them, and they do pretty well with them. Janice has played them at quite a few events. I don't know if she's played them this season.
I don't think so.
But what do you guys think about a Wymblade? I think they're probably B tier. Like, I don't think that there's space for them, but I think they fit in there. You know?
they got bodies. They can do objectives. They have a nice reroll.
They got a really cool hide mechanic. You know?
Yeah, I think, and they get 2 mines if you choose the mines, and their heroes are pretty good.
They are.
You
They're
know,
very good.
so yeah, I think B is pretty solid for these guys.
We're gonna run out of B tier real fucking soon.
I
What do
mean,
you think?
I don't know. Looking at the newer meta that we're evolving into, I think, especially like with looking at Blood and Zeal, the box, I think that really
Hurts them. I
I
mean, I
think
could see them
Gormongers-
dropping to C tier because of Gormongers and Sanctifiers. They're both gonna put
like
hurting on them.
Flamers are going to rip through their models with minimum care to the mines. Gormongers, they're going to have a very hard time getting rid of their like their main leader, like the what's the
the
Kellermorph?
someone with a K. There you go.
Kellermorph.
Aiden
He's
painted
gonna-
this
he's
model
gonna
here.
He's going to do his shooting action to clear hopefully one Gormonger, and then he's going to get charged from across the other side of the table and get murdered.
Yeah, considering
That's if,
Gormongers have a ridiculous charge.
That's if the Wyrmblade player gets initiative. The Gormonger player can easily set up to, if they win initiative, snipe the Kellermorph if he gets too close.
Yeah, their Insider actually does a lot more. Does
And
a lot
even
more work than you
even
would
if they
think.
use the Get Down, Mr. President, the Gormongers can fight twice and still reasonably kill the Kellermorph.
Right.
That's fair. That's fair.
How do they do against the rest of the B tier that we're seeing, though? Do they do decent into elves? What do you think?
Yeah, I think they can win or lose against any of these teams. They don't specifically have an advantage over a lot of these
They
teams.
probably still struggle against AOD and Fellgor. They always have, you know?
Yeah.
That AOD is just AOD. They might struggle in the Chaos Cult too, right?
They definitely do, yes.
I think the A tier, probably most of the A tiers, they do struggle into. So, I mean, I'm okay at putting them at the top of C. But if we put them in C, they're at the top, in my opinion.
That's fine.
I would agree.
They're on the could train.
The could train.
The could train.
Yeah.
C for
They
could.
They could be better.
They could be good. Okay. We have Ratlings up next. I think Ratlings are pretty good. I do think that the majority of the player base struggle with the team immensely. I would be fine with putting them in C tier, but I do think, like, skill wise, if you're good with this team, you can win events. I don't know about Gormongers though. Now that I think Gormongers, but if Gormongers aren't there, you could win for sure.
Well, I think they have tools in the Gormongers, right? Like they have the tripwires.
And they also have the double knock
the
away
parry
weapon.
shield. Yeah.
Yeah, they have the dog as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
The dog's like,
Early-
"Oh, get out of there!" You know.
Right. And then they run. Scarper is a good way to be like, I'm going to be cagey and go this way now.
I don't know if it's good enough because there's 8 of those idiots coming at you, not just
Mhm.
one.
That's true. I mean, you can set up a pretty good lane with some of the big sniper in like a good nest. You find a nice vantage, and you just try to deny your opponent from going down that area, which means you can kind of focus in 2 different lanes instead.
The problem is, like, I could realistically sacrifice half of the Gormongers team, and then if like 2 aspirants get into the Ratlings, they're gonna.
With their charge ability, that's
reel
true.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, I do know Ratlings are better than Deathcore. That's for sure. Jason played against me at a narrative event, annihilated me.
But that was before their door nerf, because now they can't put it by the door anymore. The tripwire.
I couldn't even get to the door. There was Velocicarians
Couldn't
in
even
my
get
ranks
to the
killing my
door.
guys before I could even try to get to the Ratlings.
That's a different
The
problem.
Ratlings, you're supposed to make them come to you.
Yeah, well, you know what? There was dinosaurs, there was dino robots killing my guys. Okay,
Yeah, that
I
sounds
was
like an
trying.
external issue. That doesn't sound like a Ratling versus Vekard issue.
It was difficult. Okay, I still don't think I would have won, even if it was just a 1v1. I mean, I'm okay with putting them in B tier, or if we had to C, but I definitely think they're probably mid B, probably above Blades,
I
right behind
haven't seen
Blades.
The team do nearly enough. Ooh, I'm breaking shit. To justify B tier, in my opinion.
Oh, that's a
Okay.
hot take.
I think Jason Steinke's going to beat you up.
I mean, have they topped a bunch of events or any in your area?
That's true. We only really have a few players who play them.
They're not very popular, and the ones that are painting them up currently. We do have one cellar dweller who plays them quite regularly. It does great in hobby track, but hasn't done wonders at the event placing wise that I can remember. Sorry if I'm lying. Alex, what do you think about Ratlings?
They're incredibly confusing, right? So that alone will drag down their win rate inevitably. Right?
That's fair.
Because a lot of
They have
people
some
look at the
trap
team,
ploys
will
too.
Just pick them because they're cool and drive them into the wall. That the first opportunity they got, and then they have the natural predator of melee teams that they have limited tools against with ogres,
Limited,
bogres, and
yeah.
whatnot, and the dog. But as Orion said, just one freaking guy needs to get into their backline and it's over.
They struggle into Wrecka Krew too. I played against G's Wrecka Krew and with them, and of course I don't own the Ogrins, so I was playing like the 11 Ratlings. And if you do that into Ogrins, I mean into Wreckas, can't do very much.
That's
So what are we putting them in C tier? Are we putting them right behind Wymblade, or where are we putting them?
I would put them at the end of B.
The end of B. Okay, so
I think they've got some tools for similar to what Crude have for stealing objectives, right? And they have a guy who zips around the board
okay.
as well. So they probably could play the game better than most of the C tier.
Okay, so you're on the train that if we put them in B tier, if we do, then they get knocked down a peg.
Yeah, if we have to get rid of things, that feels appropriate.
Yeah, that'd certainly be my first ones to go. Because again, I haven't seen too much that has impressed me from Ratlings so far.
And-
like you said, a lot of people are still painting them, even though there's not that much to paint.
They're pretty short kings. To be fair, I don't think everyone loves the aesthetic of the hobbits, so
Yeah.
so maybe
Yeah.
some people aren't. That I think that could be the same thing with Brood Brothers right here in the States. Maybe they're like, I don't really like the aesthetic, so they're not picking them up as
Dude,
much.
I chose the best model for their team, the dog.
Yeah, that's the best model.
Saya painted this one. Her name is
yeah.
Rosie.
Yeah.
So we got WarpCoven up next. WarpCoven are cool, right?
Took some nerf.
They did take
They
some
took a
nerfs.
nerf.
I still think they're an A tier.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
would agree.
That was
A
easy.
tier.
Yeah, I don't really have that much to say about them. They're still a very good team.
Mhm.
I'd still probably put them above Nemesis Claw, to be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah, they can knock him out.
They have reliability on their side quite a bit. They have fate on their side, man.
What do you think, Alex? Above Nemesis, or
Absolutely.
all
Nemesis
right then?
has no control over their fate, and WarpCoven literally
Totally
weaponizes fate.
does.
Yep,
And you used to play the team.
I did. I'm tired of them immensely.
Hunter Clade. A lot of people say that they're pretty decent theoretically, but they only had like 24 games played last Data Slate, and they had the worst win rate of all, and they got no buffs. I'm relatively comfortable just putting them at the literal back of the pack.
They
had a
What's a win
22%
percentage?
Yeah, 22%.
I know a loss percentage.
78% loss percentage.
Yeah, that's great.
I had heard a pretty good joke that they are no longer Hunter Clade, they are Gatherer Clade now.
I like that. We have Aquilons up next, and Giacomo has told me many times. Giacomo, why don't you just say it?
I think they're better than Kasrkin now. They got the extra model. They hit pretty similarly. Yeah, they don't got skill at arms, but hot drop is still pretty cool. I like the tactical advantage you have with the 2 blip markers that can kind of move around, so where they're going to fall, you're not quite sure. That's always a nice ability. And honestly, the robot just sitting around, just double shooting stuff or flamethrower, like, cool. I don't have to worry about him being one of the picks I get and then him getting trapped in combat. Like, yeah, sure, it still gives your opponent a point. Yeah, I don't know. I still think they're good. I don't know if. Well, okay. Here's the big thing. They got recon. Yes, you can't do plant beacons the turn they deploy from the sky, but that's okay, because the trick will be they deploy, then next turn they're going to do that while your guys in the back do yours. They're the early ones, right? And yeah, and the warrior dropping out of the little zone is nice, because I think it's the 4-inch change. It's been that, but yeah, I think Aquilons are better, and I would think with this extra model, the extra body, it helps them out activate some of their opponents, which could just push them a little bit higher, and I think they'd be somewhere near the end of B.
Okay,
personally.
It's interesting. So they had a 33% win rate. Do you think that extra model is going to bring them up to 43 or even high? Like, so you're thinking that they're going to minimum 45% overall. So if you take them to an event, you're going 2-2 pretty much no matter what.
Yeah, I think you could do that. I think it's a possibility.
That sounds like a B.
I mean, if you're not putting it, like, obviously, hopefully you don't run into A tier stuff, because that's a different problem. Mm-hmm. But you're hoping to just play in the B tier, swim in the B tier, you know?
Yeah, B tier is basically like you go to an event, you're going 50-50 pretty much on the reg. Okay. I'm okay with putting them there. If anything, I think that they could be top of C tier.
So we're saying bottom of B. Is that what's happening?
Near the bottom.
That's what G thinks. Yeah.
It's my birthday, so I'm right.
So I haven't seen them too much to really say. So it's another one of those teams that just doesn't seem to be very popular. Like, a lot of people don't like their play style. And I don't have a ton of information to really talk about them too much. I don't know if these changes will be amazing for them or insignificant in the long run. But I think B is probably fine, because they do have some options. They do have some pretty neat plays where if you want to go somewhere, they can drop next to you, shoot the Melta. Like, a team that has that ability can only be so bad.
Agreed. Mm-hmm. What do you think, Alex?
B is the place.
Okay.
They're definitely better than Kasrkin.
Sadly. But, also gladly, because I like Aquilons.
And outside of Kasrkin, they're just, I think, in the middle of the team strength in the game. They're just a very average team that can do a lot of things good, but has a lot of weaknesses as well.
All right. We have Novitiates up next. We haven't seen them rise to popularity ever since they got their first nerf. I'm not really hot on them. I hope they stay bad. They're confusing. And, if I was a fan of the rotation, I would be happy that this team would be rotating out. But I'm not a fan of the rotation. I think that everyone should play all their models. What do you guys think about Novitiates?
They're still good-ish. Like, they'll probably fight a lot of the B tier and be fine.
Yeah, I think they're about a B tier contender as well.
Mhm.
I think nowadays with their damage reductions, which needed to go,
It was pretty
absolutely,
strong.
It wasn't even that it was like super strong. It's just certain teams just had no answers to it, and then the teams that did were still fine. I think
True,
they
I could
just
never-
needed that to be gone, and then they needed something else more fair in return.
But they didn't get it, so
I'm fine
Yeah,
with putting
they were
them.
absolutely relying on that cheese to play.
Definitely fine with putting them in B tier. We're going to move Ratlings right down to the C tier here.
they
because
dropped.
They're getting bumped out, or they will soon enough. I doubt that we're going to see. I think that we're going to be wanting to put a lot more people in B tier, and then we're going to have some hard discussions and break some people's hearts online.
B for break.
Well, if they tune out now, their heroes will still live.
We have Blooded up next. Blooded. I don't think they got a nerf, right? They were decently. They were doing really well, and then they fell off the edge of a cliff. They stopped. Whoever was playing them well stopped showing up to tournaments or something, or they started losing. And also, they have Gormongers, which is their natural predator.
I think they're actually surprisingly decent into Gormongers.
Are they really?
I think they are because they have a lot of like mortal wound tricks that can maybe catch them off guard. They can shoot into melee combats.
Mhm.
They also like dying a little bit, but more than most teams. And then again, the Ogryn is still pretty solid to charge into Gormongers.
Fair.
And I think Blooded has been consistently one of the most balanced teams we've had in the game, and like still able to win events as well.
Yeah.
Like for me, they'd either be top of B or bottom of A.
I was gonna say bottom of A.
Same. Bottom of
Yeah,
A for me.
Yeah, you got
Alex,
the model
you've
count.
been outvoted, but what do you think, Alex?
I agree with bottom of A. I have very limited information on Blooded. Literally haven't seen them for a year or more. I'll trust you guys.
There's nothing worse than seeing that butcher guy or whatever, the guy with the mace, just like, oh, you think you killed him? No, I'm alive. I got this like thing where I just don't die right away, and then I killed you because my thing is brutal. Like they got little tricks here and there that you're like, I was dirty, but you know what? I'm not even mad.
So I'm specifically saving Phobos for like the end, just so that David has to watch the entire episode. Hello, David.
But you let Matt go because you did both orcs early.
I did. We have Death Core up next. Death Core is rather interesting. They got a lot of buffs. They got another buff. I just don't think it drags them out of C tier. I played him recently. I think I tabled the Gore. I almost tabled the. I did table the Gormonger player. It didn't matter. I still lost. I've also done pretty well with them. When you roll hot, you do good. They're still a little dice reliant, but they're much more reliable in general. I still think possibly the better way to play them is to play with Inquisition, though you have a much different experience with Death Core now. I definitely think that they're holding hands with Pathfinders, like Orion said earlier, or they're below Pathfinders. But I could just be extra salty on them. They have won a couple of events, right? They have the possibility. They have the legs. It's been proven, right? They do.
Say, you did have Sammy tearing up a tournament with them a little bit ago, yeah?
He did. He did win a tournament
before the
up
buff?
north. That was before the buff.
Who knows?
I definitely think that they're definitely still C tier,
Yeah, I can't see them getting out of it.
Orion, what is your thoughts on Death Core?
They'd be the lowest B if I had to place them.
Ooh, that's a lot of confidence.
If I had to be very positive on them, I think they're in C. So I think they're hanging out with the Pathfinders. realistically, I think over the span of a lot of players, they're not going to excel very high.
If you want to play Deathcore, play Brood Brothers.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a better time. Sure, you might like the gas mask aesthetic. Just make Brood Brothers with gas masks, and then make a really big gas mask Ogren for the
use your Sanction Psyker for the Magus, and then kit out a bunch of pistols on the other guy.
I'll put them in C tier, at the top of C tier. How about that?
I could live with that.
Alex, what do you think? Where do you think you want them? You do like them.
My favorite Inquisition ancillary option.
Well, there you go.
That's the way to play them.
Well, speaking of Inquisition,
Inquisition's up next. Thank you, G. Do you want to lead the charge on this one?
If I knew more about them, besides just being so salty, that they make other teams that could be cooler, like less because they take them instead. I think they're cool. Quarry is an awesome ability. The change to the robot not coming back was needed. It didn't. I don't think it completely neutered them. I think they still got legs. Am I seeing them in A tier anymore? Probably, but I don't know if enough people want to play Inquisition for that when there's like Sanctifiers as kind of an option.
I think they're bottom of A personally.
Yeah, I don't know how they stack up versus Sanctifiers. Like those teams are kind of like the same guys, right?
Right, and that's why I'd rather just kind of take Sanctifiers if I'm going to pick one now.
There is a very interesting interaction if Hexorcist rolls up to the Sanctifier leader and wants to remove his ability to say nope.
And then he says no,
and the leader tries to remove that ability. I think they're definitely about-blooded, but that's...
Oh, I don't know how that would work.
Yeah, see, Orion is thinking about it. I've known about this question for ages. I don't want to think about it. It hurts my brain.
But they will struggle into Chaos Cult for sure.
Because they both have the keyword can't. So I guess you would go to initiative, right? So that's what I would say. Because that's the page of 55 in the core rulebook says, when conflicting rules.
That's scuffed. Yeah. Let's just not think about that. This is why Imperial teams are terrible, man. They're always trying
it's just Inquisition. Yeah, it's just Inquisition. It's just
I'm
a problem.
a huge fan of AOD now. I'm a huge fan.
There's so much more fun, in my opinion. Can't go wrong with the classic, right? It's the Coca-Cola of all. It's not vanilla Coke. It's not cherry. It's just Coke.
To be honest, I'm extremely salty. Strike Force Justian is gone. I needed
what? They're right there.
Nope.
I needed that.
Nope. I needed that brain dead list building thing where you just bring
they're right there. You can buy the list and it's the same thing.
No, I don't.
Yeah,
listen.
You can literally just choose to not take equipment, and you have the same
take no equipment and take no things.
I cannot take two heavies.
Chapter tech. Oh, okay,
two heavies.
Touche.
Sergeant and captain. It's
that was kind of. I always thought that was dumb. Like what?
Yeah,
but whatever,
Well, rest in peace.
Okay, you're right.
So,
you can't take it exact.
So I will say I do know that Orion has been playing Vespids. I don't know if you have on the next ones or on this past ones, but Orion, you have been playing Vespids before they got the buff. What do you think about Vespids and their +1 operative? A lot of people out here aren't so hot on the changes. They think they need more. I don't know.
Well, they can shut up. Vespids are cool.
Yeah. I don't think they know.
Yeah, they're cool as hell, and stop being mean to the bugs. I don't know. My experience has been very unique with them. I've only lost twice with Vespid so far, and a good amount of wins, like a good amount of convincing wins. But that doesn't mean they're good. So
that means they probably have legs at a tournament now and a really good player's hand.
They got wings.
They got wings.
They got the wings.
Dude, why don't we have a Red Bull Vespid team? Painting like Red Bull and stuff, like sponsored by
the
Red
can.
Bull.
Hey, instead of the Diet Coke, you can put a can of Red Bull.
it's like the Tau Empire. I like it.
I think the world would hang me if I put them above C. And that's fine. You know what? I'll just be the guy who will prove myself wrong. Yeah, I don't think they're going. I don't think they're in D tier. I'm gonna say that. I think they actually
Yeah.
have some pretty good play now with the extra model. The drone change is actually the biggest one for the team. Not having to have vision to the Vespid and the drone.
Right.
The drone just needs to see the target that the Vespid's shooting. Is so nice. That is a huge change that only Vespid players know about. So I think they're in C. I think they're probably the bottom of C, but they're no longer in D tier for me.
Oh, you think they're at the bottom of C? I was going to put them higher. I'm kind of hyped about them. Just like the Tau, like the Pathfinder. I'm hyped about them too. No one believes me.
Like,
You
they
know,
can be maybe right next to Kroot, but I don't... Like,
Really?
I did
That
decimate
low?
Pathfinders with them, but that doesn't mean I decimate every Pathfinders player with them.
What do you guys think?
I like the change to stingers. I think it's cool. It's more of a really cool trick. It's not like a game-winning trick, but it's one of those, I gotcha this turn, and then like, all right, your opponent doesn't fall for it again.
Well, no, Stingers is just a universally good ability.
Yeah.
Like, if you turn that on going against 7 wound operatives, you have that in the ceaseless equipment. You can charge them, and realistically, if you're tackling 7 wound operatives, you're hitting them with Marine Fists with lethal 5, shock, and ceaseless.
Yeah, I mean, they beat up Blades of Khaine. They do in melee. Like
was-
maybe
and
not hard, maybe not Howling Banshees,
pre-buff too.
but they beat the holy living crap out of my not I didn't play for the ceaseless play for Scorpions. I know how strong that is now, but back then I didn't realize they beat the crap out of my striking Scorpions. I think that they're pretty cooked.
And I don't think communion points are that bad. I think communion points could be cooler in terms of like what they do. What they do now is fine. It's just kind of boring. Like, all right, well, I was going to spend this on this anyways, and I'm always going to take the ability to get an extra communion points. So it's like, it's just fine. I wish communion did more than what it does right now. That's all.
Their biggest downside is that they don't have access to 3 APL. So it's really hard to steal objectives. It's really hard to do other things. But I have seen them played really well at our events with Storm objectives and a few other things. They have a lot of move. They can be really overly aggressive, and I think they can dominate 7 wound teams, and I don't know. What do you think, Alex?
As I was tempted to say B, but they cannot do mission at all. Yeah, they have absolutely no access to 3 APL, so there is certain predictability with them. But again, they move very fast. Not fast, they move through everything. So I guess that compensates for that.
Yeah, they can go pretty fast. Turn 1, you can shoot a Vespid up, I think, 11 inches.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think C. They're one of those honest teams that are too honest for their good.
So
even
where
though it flies.
are we putting them in C tier, fellas?
I mean, real hot take. I think they're hanging out with the Aquilons. They got the extra body now, right?
Okay, so
and
you
yeah,
think
they
they're
can-
up here? Are
I
you
think-
using your point, G?
Yeah, I'll use it right now. I think Vespids are hanging out
Hell
with
yeah.
their box buddies.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they're both
Hell
pretty.
yeah.
Like, if you own either team, it's like that's solid. You're gonna have a good
Above or
time.
below the Aquilons?
If we could put them together, touching, but I don't think that really matters. I'm gonna give the Aquilons a little more because I like them a little more.
I mean,
But
I can't
when-
say anything because it's the move here. All I can be like, yep, I agree with that. That is,
It's his
Yep.
birthday.
Yeah,
Birthday.
he used the thing. They're there.
yeah, I like it. Even though when I was gonna split this box, I originally wanted the Vespids.
And then Dakotah stole them because he hated the Aquilons.
He do you
that
hate
much.
Aquilon.
I raged about their looks.
He
Absolutely
hates
raged.
them.
They're-
And their
But,
stupid ovary backpacks. I'm sorry if you like them. That's cool.
I love them.
They have grown on G. They have grown.
Yeah.
on him.
I think Vespids, you're right. I think not having the extra APL does stunt them a bit. Hey, maybe in the future, maybe communion points you can spend enough to give a guy an APL or something. That could be cool.
absurd. You can't do that.
It would be a lot of communion points. You'd have to spend like 4 or something. So you'd have to be saving up. I don't know.
Well, no, like
Look on
it would be
results.
really good if they had that. Too good, in my opinion. The problem is the team can't go past that because then all of a sudden you have guys who can like move, dash for 10 inches and then fire blast weapons, and you really don't want that.
Mhm.
Okay. Maybe you figure out a restriction, right?
You
Maybe you
could
figure
also-
out how you can make that work.
You could also do like spend a communion point and you can do a mission action for free, right? That's what a lot of people have been asking.
That might be the better option, honestly, to play it safe, so that way you don't break them with the blast shot.
So
Maybe
the
if they're
that is because I thought about this a lot. If you do that, then you have ye old servo skull problem with Inquisition, where each turn you're just planting beacons for free. Absolutely.
If you could only do it once per turn, it might be better, you know. But
you only need it once per turn.
Yeah, you only need it once.
It's fair.
Because you cannot stop those Vespids from getting in your back line to just drop a beacon for free.
I know the fix, everyone. +1 operative.
They got that.
Another one.
Nah, the box only comes with 11.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. We're up to the Geller King's favorite team. Actually, I have no idea if it's his favorite team.
Yeah,
but you have
hear me yap nonstop, huh?
they are much better than they were. You know, I believe you did put them in the D tier, and
I did, and I was wrong.
They
you
were
know what?
very well. I don't know if you were wrong. Yeah, you were wrong, but
wow.
But they definitely didn't get a lot of plays. They were the least played faction, period. Right? They had 4 or 8 total games, and just think about this: Angels of Death had like 900. Right? So they had 100 times less competitive games in 4-round tournaments, 16 players, than AOD. That's crazy.
How many games did you say they had?
8.
Yeah, so,
wow.
Yeah, 6 of those are mine then. Yeah.
So I don't think they're in D tier after their buffs. What are you guys thinking?
Thrice Curse took his glasses off and he got the glow up, you know? Is it the glow up you probably wanted? No, he went from like the okay looking person to the better looking.
He got a makeover.
Hulk. Yeah, he got a makeover. You know, the big thing was bugs, right? I personally, I love the bug change. Orion, you know this team better than I do. What do you think?
So I have played this team quite a bit now, since we did that tier list. This team's fucking nuts, dude. It's nice. I like it a lot, especially with these new changes. And the other thing is, like, a lot of the new teams, they just smack down like it's nobody's business. Gormongers don't care. Just smack them down. Cults, they've always had the better fight versus cults. It's just a really good team now with the Mutoid Vermin change that you get an extra equipment, essentially. That's what it means, which is very nice. The Blessings of Infection change now really makes the team take it. Because before I was struggling to actually spend CP on it. Because before it was like, oh, spend a CP to hope you don't fail. And now it's like you get rewarded no matter what side of the spectrum your dice fall on, which is really nice. It also opens up a few channels with rending for Thrice Curse that you didn't have before. If you take the rending keyword, because you can retain a critical, and then with that critical, you can use rending to then retain another critical. And all of a sudden, you can kind of just like smack somebody for 11 damage if you do it right, or 12 if you take the critical buff damage. So I think Gellerbox are pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I would personally put them at A, but I'm also the only person playing them. So,
yes.
At the moment, just wait for John Reese to hear this. Or any other Gellerpox fanatic, you know, Melty might even start playing them again. Who knows?
There's tens of us.
There's like 10 of you guys. There's literally just 10. Alex, what do you think? Remember, this depends on yours and Orion's friendship here.
Oh,
S tier right there.
S tier.
Oh, he's making amends. A slam dunk in YouTube drama history, or this Kill Team drama. There you go.
I mean, if only 2 people are playing it, and both of them
and
are amazing
2
players,
are,
it's gotta be
I
S
guess.
tier.
Dang, the math is solid.
What do you think, Orion? Do you think we should keep him in S tier?
No. As much as I'd like them to be. Yes, I think some people would disagree, because it's funny on a lot of like Discord channels and stuff. you see people talk about Gellerpox, and they're like, "Oh, is Orion playing them?" And they're like, "No." Like, "Oh, no. Like,
Oh, you're going to be fine then.
yeah." It's like, "Oh, they're terrible." But is Orion playing them? Then no, yeah, you're dead. It's a very funny thing that I've witnessed over like the past couple of months. So I don't think they're S. They'd probably be bottom of A, maybe top of B.
What do you think, G?
I think bottom of A feels pretty appropriate.
I think they're above Chaos Cult.
If you believe so, you could use your thing. I think A is good. Somewhere in A is good.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Chaos Cult still has the more reliability and shock factor of, oh shit, there's the 2 torments, because you don't quite know where they're going to be.
Right, where they're going to spawn.
We're going to run out of room in A tier too.
Hey, that's a good sign. There's a lot of A tier teams.
Well, we're probably going to have to bump these 2 up to S tier. Okay.
Oh yeah, probably.
Yeah, to give us.
Should we just do that now? Because I think that's going to happen.
I think so.
I just don't think I see anything different.
What are the teams we got?
Gormongers, Brood Brothers.
Brood Brothers.
Right now, it's only Sanctifiers and S, which I don't think that they'll be the only team above a 55% win rate.
Brood Brothers with the Magus is just like, you can keep the Magus pretty safe the whole game, and you just get these abilities. Like it costs you nothing. So like
I think Void
use my
you can 100% you can.
Okay, I'm gonna hold off on it.
All right. Until the end of the episode. Okay, the end of the episode's where it's gonna get spicy. All right, we have Exaction
Jaegers if nothing else.
We got Exaction Squad up next. Again, possibly the better place to play them is in Inquisition. I'm going to let Alex take this one, but I will say, when I was playing against Alex, they were so complicated. He was like, I'm going to get this buff, this buff, this buff, this buff, and this buff, and I'm going to shoot this guy and do nothing. And I was like, yeah, that sounds like Exaction Squad to me. And I was like, all right, he still beat me, but still, I was very surprised.
It was hard work.
I still think that Inquisition should be able to take Palatine Enforcers and not Exaction Squad.
It could be cool.
It could be.
Yeah.
What do you think, Alex?
They're incredibly complicated for what they are. And they're not very reliable, as you saw. They can absolutely destroy everything if they, shoot in melee, roll all hits, and then you roll poorly on defense, then everything is evaporated. Exaction Squad is the winner and all that. But they don't have that many good rerolls. They're above C probably because they can deal with melee.
Okay.
Would they take Novitiate spots?
I'm not too familiar with Novitiates to compare them directly, but they're definitely somewhere where Aquilons and Vespids are. They have answers to melee.
Okay.
They're not extremely horrible into elites, but they kind of are. You don't have a remove button.
I don't disagree that they could probably also be in B tier, especially after playing against them. I mean, I didn't understand anything that they did, and they still did really well. I would be okay with putting them there. Now, the question is who do we drop? And they also, do they beat elf teams?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they beat elf teams.
I think they're kind of geared up to take on elf teams pretty well, right?
Box buddy.
Mm-hmm. Just dump the Mandrakes to C and take their place.
Okay.
Yeah, I could kind of vibe with that. I mean, I would drop Novitiates first, personally, but
that works.
We can't drop Vespids and Aquilons. They got locked in by G, so they're staying there no matter what.
Box buddies.
Right? Box buddies. Yeah, the G lock. Exaction Squad in B tier. Orion, what are you thinking?
I've only seen this team play a handful of times.
It's rather popular out here sometimes.
Yeah, it's a cool team, honestly.
It is a very cool team, and it reminds me a lot of Krew, where you can stack like 7 keywords on a dude and then hit them for 3 damage.
Do nothing afterwards.
So
Dang,
I would honestly, personally put them next to Krew, but I'll defer to the person who actually plays Exaction.
That's fair. So bottom of B tier. I will also defer to Alex. Novitiates look like they're going to be going above Deathcore here. We're going to move these guys back. and put Exaction in. The
Hmm.
question is Scouts or any of these other teams going to be trying to knock any of these other B tiers out of the league? Okay, so we have Jaegers coming up next. Sean from up north did say that Jaegers are back. I mean, they definitely seem like they were better, but do I put them out of C tier? I'm a dwarf hater. You're not going to like where I put Salvagers, everyone. Where I suggest we put salvage. In fact, I might just use my card on salvagers if you guys disagree with me.
I think I know where you're going to put them, and I think I'm going to agree.
Okay. Jaegers seem to probably be the better dwarf faction now that salvagers really depended on a lot of cheese to win and do good things with. I don't know. I probably put them in the bottom of C tier. Still, I didn't the win. The nerf did not surprise me that much to be like, wow, these guys are good now, like I did Pathfinders, you know?
You mean the buff?
Oh, the buffs for Jaegers, right?
Yeah, for
with their big old plasma blades and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, melee was one of the things the team was lacking.
Dude, I could still beat them in melee with fucking Vet Guard because it's just like bodies and you just throw them at them. It's not that.
Their consistency for melee has got better, but that wasn't their root of the problem. The root of the problem is still playing the tack up. They don't play any of their tack ups well, and they play the mission mediocre. So I don't really think the needle moves that much. I think their quality of life got a lot better versus melee.
Yeah, you could probably take Kill Up now, you know, as your primary. I know that there
teams maybe, yeah.
There's quite a few players that are actually going that route now. It seems to be a new wave of players just going Kill Up primaries and just trying to throw your opponents off their game and just trying to kill everything.
I mean,
honestly, I love it all the time. Yeah, I love Kill Up.
That's the only one I can
your opponent
understand.
can't score if they're dead.
True.
That's how I play with Vespids.
just kill everything. They don't have a chance to get the tack off that way.
Yeah, who cares about crit ops? We're just gonna kill everything. So where are we putting Jaegers?
Where did we put them last time? Was it D tier? I think it was D tier. Sure. I think I got some very personal messages.
We stick them in between Ratlings and Wymblade, somewhere there.
I always get personal messages about dwarves. They have some stands out there.
I mean, it's effectively just their melee that got buffed, right?
Yeah. So
I mean, that moves them up a tier for me, but not to where the dwarf players are going to be happy about.
Right. How many Jaeger players have you seen take steps to tournament? I've seen one, and that was before the buff.
I could see them above Deathcore, like if I'm being super generous, you know, like if I'm being super generous, you know, I think they could.
I think you got the bodies.
Still
that's just
die
more
on a mission though, and like do that well.
Yeah, and do it.
I don't think they beat Ratlings.
That's what I said, in between Ratlings and Wymblade, somewhere there.
Okay, I'd put them there.
I'd put them below Wyrmblade still. Like
okay, so Wyrmblade and Pathfinders, you think?
I think Pathfinders two-shot them, but
he's right.
Yeah, but the Jaegers could get the jump on him with melee.
Yeah, and their pistol man is cool.
They seem rather even. They seem
I think
rather
that'd be a good
even.
matchup personally. Pathfinders versus Jaegers.
All right.
I think between the Wyrmblade and the Pathfinders is fine.
All right, so just giving them the edge over the Pathies. Okay.
They have melee, right? If you can get stuck in melee against them, you can kill them.
So
it would be skill diff.
I think we could see more from them in the future. But right now, nothing screams to me like, oh crap, these guys are going to win tournaments.
Right, this is the rule. Yeah.
Does their melee is it that much better that they're going to threaten Gormongers and Brood Brothers and Fellgor and Nemesis Claw, Void Dancers? No, I don't think.
It will certainly help versus a good chunk of those teams. But yeah. I don't think it's going to move them hyper competitively up the ladder.
I think Salvagers are going to move to the top of D tier. Currently, if I was being mean, I'd put him mildly D.
Wow, actually, I wasn't expecting that.
So mean.
I thought you were gonna put him in C. Okay.
Nah, like 100% D tier for me. I think that they easily dropped from the 44% win rate that they had. I think they're gonna drop sub 40, easily drop sub 40, because a lot of players that I would play against, even at Worlds, their thing was to alpha strike with the guy with
the jump pack guy. Yep.
or guarantee turning point 2 so they could do it again, or turning point 3 they could guarantee. Now, since it's just a reroll, in our podcast, I think we got it wrong. We thought we didn't know if it was a buff or a nerf because it was so, like we couldn't tell. It's 100% a nerf. They just got rid of the cheese on them. They lived and died on the cheese, and they got no buffs. They had a 43% win rate, and they got nerfed. Like, there's no way this team is above a 40% win rate now. And people are going to drop it in favor for other stuff now, just because they got a nerf, you know? That's my personal opinion. They're still good into Legionary or things that need crits, but that's about it. The problem that Death Corps can beat them in melee and just run rampant, and every other team is getting buffs in melee outside of Pathfinders, like, is just like the team functions poorly against melees, you know? What do you guys think?
I don't know. I think they still have some legs, regardless of how tall they might be.
Yeah, 4-letter long legs.
So they can still do the cheese. It's just not as consistent. It
You're a
didn't go
little
away.
slower.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
1 inch slower now.
And you still can try to get the initiative. It's just a little different in how you have to do it.
It's not guaranteed.
It's not guaranteed.
And you could get punished for it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're D tier, though.
I think they still are high C.
When you take away a team's reliability in a competitive setting, they're always going to drop win percentage.
Yeah, but they still got a 3-up armor save.
That's like taking away Ceaseless from Death Corps. They go right back down to a 24% win rate.
like a 3-up armor save is very significant, you know, and that still keeps them durable. But like,
that's why you kill them in melee. Just stab them to death.
Let me look at command point right now. Let me see what Dylan Gill has said in the past day.
Dylan Gill is an exception. He is very good with this team. Okay, I think that this team can function well with high level play, but the majority of the player base, I 100% see below a 40% win rate. They will get buffed on the next data slate. They have to be. Which automatically means if they're going to get buffed, they're below a 45% win rate.
Well, when you put it like that, I tend to agree. Because there's strong play with them besides the cheese. They're very good at the mission if you know how to play it correctly. So yeah, I guess if everybody relying on the cheese will keep playing the team, yeah, C it is, or D.
I like how this is the most contentious take we had.
It's just dwarves, but I think it's C for dwarves for me personally.
D for down below.
In the Mines of Moria. Hey, we were just watching Lord of the Rings earlier. We were watching Return of the King. Yeah.
Yeah, why haven't we seen a Ratlings Lord of the Rings team with the cave trolls, you know?
Why has no one made a fellowship yet? They're taking all the models and start making
I have
them.
the fellowship models from WRTL. They're very good.
Those are pretty cool ones.
Mm-hmm. Waiting on Orion. Where are you thinking? I know that you said like C somewhere, but
yeah, I was seeing how much doom and gloom there was in the Discord.
That's fair. D for doom and gloom.
What has everyone else voted here? Am I the tiebreaker?
G voted for C. Alex voted CD. I said top of D. You know, I think they'll probably be at like a 39-38% win rate, but I don't think they're going to go very much higher.
You are the tiebreaker.
I think the team can still play despite that. I would put them in C still. Maybe we can go bottom of C, but I don't think they're D.
Yes.
I still think that you might be able to win a small event with them. I don't think you're going to win a major, but you know, that is just me.
That feels right.
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
C tier isn't exactly us going like, woo, look at them.
Right. Look, these guys are shining, but they got abilities that are still,
I still can't believe we only have 2 teams. There's usually between 5 and 8 teams below a 40% win rate. Things have gotten better. Games Workshop's
this is a great thing, you know.
But I don't know. I don't foresee everything being like super balanced, but I
You
guess we'll
don't
see.
foresee.
Yeah, foresee. Scouts got a buff, big time. You know,
Can they
Big
go
time
above S tier? I'm not
buff.
sure.
I swear to God, if you go
No. I think they needed the body, but
Yeah, I
that's
think they
fine.
did the
So
body.
S plus is
The
what we're
box,
talking about, right?
the box comes with 10 models.
Why do we have 9 scouts? You know, like they
Who-
gave the Vespids the +1. You know, I will say if they gave scouts another +1, see the problem is they gave them a buff in the areas that the team is already hard to play in. You know, like sure the melee's nice, but like all the scouting stuff is already like, you know, relatively hard to master as that team. I don't know. I think they had a 36% win rate last patch. Even though I think that people could play this team and win an event, 100% it is possible. I think the majority of players and the majority of people that are going to take it, I just don't know. Maybe C. I think that they're maybe in the 40% now. They got up 4%. Do we really think that they're going to pop any of the? I mean, they might crush elf teams. What do you think? Hoda gets knocked out?
I think scouts are one of the teams that suffer the most from players not playing them long enough, because it's one of the teams that you really control the entire tempo based on your game plan before the game even starts. And if you don't know how to do that versus each and every team, you're going to struggle because your whole faction ability was set up wrong. So you need practice. You need to know all the ins and outs of each team to effectively choose its scouting. And I think if a lot of players aren't putting that much time into the team, it's not nearly going to. It's not going to be as effective as it should be. So like that's the whole thing. They should get massive advantage turn 1 to turn 2 because they control the board during that time.
Mm-hmm.
And if players aren't doing that correctly, you're not going to see scouts doing anything right.
Yeah, I actually saw one of the better scouts players on the West Coast between like Jesh and Austin when he was playing the team. They were just super, 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 super aggressive turning point 1. And like they would just like punish you for deployments or any of that kind of stuff. And it was super effective. But, you know, I think Scout Squad could suffer because of everyone wants to play really timid in this edition because you're not trying to lose models.
Mhm.
And they really thrive off of killing models early. And if you don't let them kill any models early, you know, you're already kind of winning. I don't know. What do you think,
Is it-
Alex? Or G? Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Alex.
Haven't seen the team for a while. No idea how they do with prevalent melee threats.
They're okay in melee. They got 3 attacks, so
People just
And they got 3/5 damage now, right? Or 4/5?
4 or 5
now?
with the knives.
4/5 or 3/5.
If you take,
the knife.
yeah.
If people
So their
just
melee
start
is not bad
picking-
at all, and you have
Not
massive-
not at all.
You have the ploy for melee as well.
Right, to do the ambush play when you fight twice. Yeah. So knowing that knowledge now, Alex, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking probably B tier,
Oh,
hopefully.
okay.
But
See, I'm
as
inclined to
people
agree.
Start to pick them up, maybe it will take a time to figure it out, because now it's not as simple as last edition when they gave them super knives and extra body where you just can cheese your way through it, you know.
I only think they needed the extra body last edition.
See, I will 100% play Scout Squad if I can get action hero heads. I will.
Can make it happen. You got time. Because you're right, because scouts control the board, you know.
Who are we dropping out of B tier then?
Exaction.
I mean, yeah, I not even I would drop Vespids, but that's been locked.
Yeah, I locked it. He has to take it.
To me, it's between Exaction and Hand of the Archon, but you know, Alex made a good point about Exaction, you know, and I lost to them. You know, how can I be like, oh, you know,
They can.
Well, just
survive
because you
melee.
lost doesn't mean it's same thing,
Right.
You know,
I mean, remember the joke? We stacked 7 keywords and they did 3 damage. So like
That did happen.
if that's the consistency, then that's not like great.
And
The
if you
scouts
lost
have a sniper. Yeah. You
Alex,
know,
I think you argued too good for scouts, and I think scouts are going to take exaction spot.
It's okay.
I mean, I personally think scouts are way better than people are playing them at. I will die on that hill.
I could see them getting to A maybe one day, but right now it's not that day.
Look, they were in S. I don't know what happened.
Their knives. They turned the batteries. They took the batteries out of their knives. You know.
So we have Plague Marines up next. I think Plague Marines. Oh,
do you want to do Star Striders just to get the last 3 elites?
Sure. Star Striders, worst team in the game.
What?
That's my opinion. I think they suck.
I don't know anything about them now.
The only cool thing about them is they have a Khaine. You know,
I would be comfortable putting them top of D tier, but D tier.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
Sorry, Star Strider players. The ones who make like their cool team out of all the extra models too. You know, make your own Severina Rain model.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
So we have Phobos, Plague Marines, and Legionary. To me, I think all these teams are in A tier.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to disagree with you. And there's exactly 3 slots.
Wait. Phobos, we have to do this just so that.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Phobos are in D tier for 45 seconds. Because D is for David. But after that, they move straight to A tier. In my opinion, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, right as you spell David's goes D-A, so that makes sense.
V for victory.
And then we're not going to finish his name because then it would end to D. What do you think, Orion? You're in deep thought right now.
Yeah, Phobos are pretty dang good at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they stack up to the new teams. That's the one thing I'm considering. I think the Gormongers have great weapon breakpoints to just really crack Phobos down.
Right, with 12 wounds.
But that it will depend on where they're it's not the Saboteur, it's the Vox Jammer. Depends on where that guy is on the map.
Right, he got really nice.
Yeah, because he could really shut down a Gormonger's day if you shut down rerolls and they roll poorly. And then, a Reaver just murders them.
Then you could do the hit. Yeah.
I think Phobos are fine in A just because of their squishy nature. They can really pop off sometimes, but they, do suffer from, being weak.
Yo, imagine if they went to 13 and 14 wounds.
I won't. No, thank you.
That'd be insane.
It would be insane.
It would be so nuts.
There'd be no reason to run Angels of Death at that point.
Or you would just take Phobos forever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm also okay putting them there. I mean, there's an argument for S tier, but I think that is overruled by the majority of the rest of A tier. Plague Marines and Legionary, I'm actually okay with putting Plague Marines in S tier. I think that they'll have above a 55% win rate. I think that you can win events with them. They have, and I think they continually will. I don't think that they're as strong as they were because they did get a small a nerf
with the Cloud of Flies.
Doesn't exist.
Right. Doesn't matter.
I have played in the past 20 or so games.
Yeah.
Played Cloud of Flies maybe twice. And it was never to cover more than one guy.
Right.
It'd be great into Pathfinders. That's
yeah, sure.
But Plague Marines have so much damage reduction and it just goes off all the time that it's they reliably have an extra 4 wounds a body, which is crazy. And their slow speed isn't a problem. Sorry, what was that?
Is that not including healing?
That not including healing. Yeah. This team, they tank so much shot, it's crazy. And if you can tank shots, then all right, cool. You stop people from playing the kill up because you're not really killing them.
There are quite a few people out there.
You'll hold the center, easy. That center is yours for the most part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're pretty strong. They're pretty good. I think that they're probably a S tier. So, like, what about you, Alex?
I think.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I think they'd be S tier.
If they're an S tier, definitely above Brood Brothers.
You think they're above
You
Brood
think?
Brothers?
That's an interesting matchup. That's one I'd like to see.
Bolter Fire usually does very well into 7-1 teams.
Yeah, but Brood Brothers had a 60% win rate in Spain.
I don't know. Maybe they don't play that many Plague Marines. Or maybe that's those nasty into the dark maps.
Could be.
That's fair.
I will
Could
say
be.
Death Guard is much easier to play well.
I would agree. All right.
Free poison.
Whoops.
And it's
then-
7 models, you know?
That is not what I wanted to happen. All right. So then we have Legionary up next. And then I think we have to resort A tier. I think the rest of the tiers are pretty good, but I don't think A tier is in relative order. Legionary, I don't think they're S tier.
I think they're A.
I think they're A.
Yeah.
I think I'm comfortable with them in A.
So let's rearrange this because I don't think Fellgor is at the top. I also would say that Void Dancers might get I would also argue for S tier just because I think they're going to be above a 55% win rate. Like remember A tier is 50. No, I don't think they're going to be above. Are they going to be? Above?
I don't think they're going to be above.
Yeah, I think those 4 teams will probably be above. I definitely think we're going to see some more teams in D tier. You know, I'm going to try to get mine as accurate as possible. But where do we think Fellgor land in this S tier shenanigans?
Second or
probably
third
next to
spot?
Blooded.
Oh, really? You think that? Okay.
I think they definitely drop to the back half.
Fellgor are very susceptible to APL manipulation. Any weapons that can shoot twice, like bolter fire. There's a lot of things that can shut down the frenzy mechanic nowadays.
Okay.
That's fair.
Oh, yeah. And now that they also can die on the counteract, that's a big thing.
Do you think that they're worse than Inquisition? I think they're worse than Inquisition.
Yeah, in a vacuum, I think they are worse. But
And what about Legionary? What about Legionary and Phobos? Are we putting them above, or are we? You said Gellerpox at the end of A, right?
Yeah.
So we'll just keep them back here. Fellgor though. Where do we?
I think all the Marines are at the top of the A.
At least somewhere near the front. Sure.
Yeah, Marines are still fantastic right now. You can't go wrong taking a Marine team.
Okay.
Now, is Legionaries better than Phobos?
I don't think so.
I think they're about even. I think
Okay.
either one can win the matchup, right?
Okay.
Yeah, Phobos
not a
are
bad
really,
thing.
really popular right now.
They got skills, man. You know, utility grenades, deadly shots, being able to be like, no, it's actually your turn again.
I think Fellgor could easily fall to the bottom, the top of B. You know, but you know, I'll let him ride.
I
Now,
don't think you need to. Yeah.
no. Now is our time to use our spicy points. Okay, we should. Generally, this is the relative one that we agreed on. If you guys want to see this, if you guys like this one, you know, then cool. To screenshot it now, share it to Reddit. You know, have them flame us. But I am going to use my point. I
Okay.
highly suggest, just for content, Orion, you should use yours. And Alex, you should yours. Now, we have Giacomo using his. I will go first. I'm going to bring Salvagers right down into the depths.
Okay.
Right into D tier. D for
All right.
depths.
Okay.
Wow.
I'm not even.
Yeah.
I'm not even. I'm not even that mad. So you know, it's fine.
That's right. You little dwarf team. I don't think they're very good. I'm going to use my 1 point to say they're going to be sub 40. It's my most confident I've ever been in my life. That's why I've only bet 4 times ever. You know, my last bet was for the Raiders to win the Super Bowl, and I lost it. Never bet again.
But he's betting on this.
It was like 2000 and 2001.
So can we keep track of these hot takes and then check in with them later?
Oh,
to
of
see
course.
Sure.
who's right? Because you're basically just betting here that Salvagers will be below 40.
Yeah, below a 40% win rate. That is my guess at the beginning of the next data slate. And now everyone's going to play them, and Dylan
Now-
Gill is going to take them to every single event and prove me wrong.
So now Giacomo has bet that Vespids and Tempestus
Aquilons. Yeah, pretty close
are
to each other.
what win rate?
They're in B,
Uh,
so whatever B is.
So that's between a 50 and a 45.
Okay.
So just about balanced in the safe range.
Yeah, I'm gonna use mine because I'm interested
Okay.
to see what Alex is gonna move.
Oh.
Gormongers are going down. They're not S
Ooh.
tier. Like
Where
that's
are
just
they-
my hot take. I don't
Okay.
think they're S tier. I think there's plenty of counter to them.
All right.
I
Where
would
are you
put
bringing them?
Just right at the end of the Marines because I think they have a tough time with all Marines.
So
Yeah.
behind Legionary? Whoops.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome. I mean, I can, it's a hot take you say, but like I'm feeling cold feet. I think it's totally agreeable.
Well, it depends on who we're talking to in this podcast, right?
Yeah, because like I've always thought like, oh, Gormongers are strong, but they're not beating Space Marines. Like they're just gonna take the hit
I'm
and chop them up.
100% regretting using my take before Orion's take.
Did you want to bring them back?
Well, you can't move them, idiot.
You're not wrong. You're not allowed to. I'm not allowed to. Okay,
It's
so
not
Gormongers,
allowed.
the middle of A. What just happened, everyone? Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. So you're
Crazy.
gonna guess that they're gonna be somewhere in the between 55 and 50, right? In the healthy range.
Yep,
That's
They-
super
they-
respectable.
They're not
Yeah.
gonna get a nerf. They're not gonna get the relentless auto attack within 2 inches.
Well, no, that's not a nerf. That's just common sense that they should not have that. You hear that?
I
people
agree.
who play Gormongers, wrist chains. It's a dumb idea.
Yeah.
It's not. No, stop it.
I like
anything-
wrist chains.
If
No, wrist
anything,
chains
that
are fine. They
wrist
should not have
chains-
relentless. You're bad for thinking it, and I'm talking to you guys specifically. You all know who you are.
Oh dang, he's calling
See-
Alex out. I'm just
see
kidding.
for me,
No.
wrist chains need to be changed to ceaseless balanced. That's what needs to happen. Not relentless. Who gives relentless on a frickin' ploy? Name one other team. Somebody probably will. Okay. Alex, what about you?
Actually, looking from left to right, it even makes sense that Gormongers are behind the elite teams who shoot twice and whatnot. But besides that, I would like to use my point for the memes.
Okay.
Use some Kellen spies
Oh,
and give a shout out to Kel Team, Kellen, and all
No.
good people in San Diego,
no.
and move Exaction Squad to S tier.
Oh my God.
Garbage take. Garbage take.
I agree. It is garbage. But
They-
we
they
made
might
the
garbage.
rules.
We
They
were-
might
we're
even be able to beat Sanctifiers in 1-1.
It's okay.
Oh my
We cooked a
God.
gourmet meal, and Alex chose McDonald's.
Yeah, dude, he brought like a Hormel chili to put on top of his caviar.
Oh
My
my gosh.
Leftover McDonald's from yesterday.
Talk
you know?
about biased.
it's not even warm.
Mike,
Ten
No,
did
I'm
the
not even gonna. I'm not even gonna change this. I'm just gonna put this as our final list,
There you go.
and people
mean,
are gonna
that's
be
what
like,
it is, right?
"Exaction, it is, it is."
Keep
we
me
have
guessing.
decided on the Squad Games podcast and the Squad Games channel that Exaction Squad are S tier. Call us crazy. We might not like it. I definitely don't.
Even
but,
I hate it.
You chose it. You didn't have to.
No, I feel obligated.
Garbage take.
Like, you either be a
Garbage.
hero or live long enough to become the villain, right?
Yep.
Dude, he's neither. It's garbage.
He has become the villain.
just a
He
puddle
has
of
become
mud.
the villain. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Okay, so let me try to. Okay, that was a little bit too close. There we go.
All
That-
right.
It's not working. Okay, I am gonna switch over to our YouTube, our Patreons. I just want to see their reaction. David says that he respects Alex's choice.
Oh
unlike
my
the
god,
rest of us.
garbage.
Thank you, David.
Yeah,
I did it for the community.
Bro, cancel him on Twitter.
and
Yo,
then
this is
David
coming
also.
from a guy who can't even fork fusilli pasta. Like,
Yeah.
I-
Garbage take.
I did not deserve this, okay?
Yeah, that's fair. And then I believe David did say trivia. Pretty sure Salvagers have stomped Dakotah at tourneys. In fact, David, They have not stomped me. I have lost to them once and I have beat them once this edition. And all right, so chill out. Chill out,
You
my
have to
guy.
be pretty
Okay?
low to the ground for those guys to get their boots on him.
That's true. That's true. That's back when I had a 24% win, a 20% win rate. All right. And then Matt Alasana also said that he respects whatever Alex has said, whatever bad choices he makes. He respects you, Alex. And that's okay. You know,
Awesome.
we have decided, we have figured it out. We have gone 2 hours and 30 minutes into this bad boy. And I know it's really late for Orion. So we're going to try to end this here soon. Over in California, it's just 10 p.m.
It's not that bad.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
bad.
it's not late here. It's early morning.
Yeah, see,
Yeah, you're starting your day right.
We're spending Giacomo's birthday night having a blast,
Hell yeah.
making
Well, we
Exaction Squad.
Yeah.
Not that one. Making Exaction Squad S tier, right?
Yes, for
Absolutely.
surprise.
Yeah, absolutely cooked. Absolutely cooked.
Absolutely. You know what? If that's what Alex wants, he can have it, I guess. Garbage take.
Alex's
Garbage.
birthday?
It'll be soon. I can't say when,
For what?
but it'll be soon.
What will be soon?
Oh, his birthday?
Oh,
There you go.
the end of his birthday.
Why is no one? Is that a secret?
I don't know. I don't know what's happening. Okay.
Is it a
so-
secret, Alex? No, I'm kidding.
All right,
yeah.
so we're gonna move on to shout outs, and I'm so excited for this part of the episode. Overly excited. Firstly, I want to shout out our Patreons. They watch the entire stream live. I would like to shout out you for getting to the end of the video. Thank you very much. Make sure to try and engage as much as possible. Like, comment, and subscribe. It helps the channel. And it helps us with everything else. I want to shout out Alexander Popov. He's amazing, and he is a part of our crew here at Squad Games. I also want to shout out Orion. He is an amazing human being, and he lets me stay with him whenever I go to Baltimore. So he's cool. Him and shout out to Angel.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. All right. I got points right there. All right. Giacomo, it's your birthday. How about you give us our next shout out?
Yeah, absolutely. You can join the conversation in the YouTube comments below. Tell us what you think should be in the S tier, the A tier, the B, the C, and the D. You know, maybe you do think Exaction is an S tier. I don't. Or you can join us on our Discord at the Squad Games Discord server. Join us there. Tell us what you think there. Show us your paint jobs. Ask questions. You know, all sorts of stuff relating to Kill Team. And you can find us on the YouTube channel. If you've already found us, then you're here. Can make sure to like and subscribe. And if you're listening to this on your podcast, giving us a rating helps. That helps a lot just for people finding the show, which is always nice. You know, it's a good thing. And you can find us on Instagram at squad_games_entertainment. That's also the same for Twitch, where we usually play most weeks, unless we're kind of crunching for tournaments because we got to get those set up. And speaking of tournaments, the next one coming up is going to be in June, the All Valley Team Tournament. That is the 21st and 22nd in Southern California. That's in Santa Clarita, California. We're in the LA County. So if you're going to come out here, you know, come for a little weekend trip, come see cool parts of LA and play Kill Team for like 6 rounds, you know? 8 rounds, I think. I can never remember off the top of my head.
6 rounds for it.
6 rounds. There we go. Win some prizes. Join the Forge Brush. You know, bring in your models, and let us see if you can win the big anvil.
Yeah, hopefully we're gonna have our Highlander brushes out by then. Super excited about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Orion, what is your shout outs? I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Shout-outs. Okay. Well, first shout out to Campanelli noodles. Those are my favorite. That's my favorite pasta. It's fantastic. Secondly, I think it's a long time coming. I would like to shout out my favorite Russian. We all know him. We love him. Nikolai Baskov.
Yeah. I thought you were going to do Nikola Tesla, but that's fine too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, he's a fantastic vocalist. I love him to bits. No, it's Alexander Popov.
He's a vocalist.
He's my boy. I will uncancel him.
Oh, he's been uncanceled.
Now it's my
Uncanceled.
birthday too.
Happy birthday, Alex.
Yeah, happy birthday, Alex. It is at the end of the month. Not yet.
Not yet. It's coming.
Not
Not
yet.
yet.
It's coming.
Not yet. Appreciate those shout outs. How about you, Alex?
Well, shout out to Backstabber Cellar Dwellers, G for having a birthday,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Shout out to that.
and
Thank you
Orion
for
will
living
Fong.
another year.
Oh,
Lives too far
dang.
away though. I don't know why.
Dang.
Yeah,
If
we
only-
don't understand Orion's choices. It would be much better if he lived in California, next to all of us, or if we all live closer to him, because California is also, yeah. Okay, so we have earthquakes and fires and other ding dongery going on. So thank you all for watching the episode. If you agree or you disagree, make sure you put it in below. I am honestly going to put Exaction in S tier on the thumbnail, because we did, we're not lying. The entire video they weren't there, but then we did. So
Garbage
hey,
take.
yeah, just put it on Reddit and see people flame us. It will be absolutely glorious, and then people will also just skip to the end, see that we weren't lying, and they will flame us as well. Very excited for it. Yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Also, last thing, happy birthday, Giacomo.
Thank you.
You are the man. Appreciate you, man.
Do we all awkwardly
birthday.
sing happy birthday to him now?
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Happy
Happy
birthday to you.
It's falling apart. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
Dear Giacomo.
Happy birthday,
Happy
dear
birthday to
Giacomo.
Giacomo.
Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday to
to
you.
you.
To him.
Woo!
Yay! I like that. I like that. That was a good rendition.
Thanks.
Never sing it again.
I don't think we could.
I honestly don't think you could.
No, I don't think so.
There was no timing at all.
It was absolutely. I'm tone deaf, right? Colorblind and tone deaf. Orion can't smell, and then Alex's back hurts. So
These extreme circumstances let this one
Giacomo's
moment.
the only normal one of us all.
You put us all together, we have Giacomo. We have
Yeah.
There you go.
I think it's Whack-A-Mo.
Hey, if you're from the UK, yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna end off this. Thanks everyone again for watching. Until next time.
See ya.
Bye.
Pasta at dinners. I'll answer the question, then I'll follow up with a question after everyone's
Okay.
answered. I'm pretty basic. I like your standard spaghetti with angel hair being a second, and then I'm a big fan of like the little seashells.
Okay.
Well, that's not
Yeah.
your least favorite. That was the most favorite.
Oh, sorry, least favorite.
Yeah,
Probably fettuccine pasta. I love the sauce. I don't know. It's just kind of long and.
Okay. I
Yeah.
have. Okay. I'm a kind of a. Okay. So my favorite, since Giacomo did his favorite, I'm gonna say my favorite too because I like talking about favorite stuff. It's the circle ones. The circle long. They're like long and they're circles.
So
Kind of like a
holes
little
in them?
point.
Hold on.
Yeah, they have like a little point on them.
Coming.
Yeah.
Oh,
I like.
Okay.
Oh, the ZD or the penne.
The penne. I think it's penne.
Yeah, I think penne is the one you're
So
thinking.
I
of.
like
Well,
penne.
would be the ones
and-
with the grooves like ZD.
yes, and I like arrabbiata sauce. That's my favorite. My least favorite is probably like just standard spaghetti with like flavorless meat sauce.
Yeah, I mean, flavorless meat sauce would suck.
It does suck. It sucks balls. Tell me. I can tell you. What about you, Alex?
Well, Fusilli can go to hell.
What did you just say?
Fusilli?
Fusilli?
The genome.
Is that a
thing.
Godzilla character?
Look at the diagram, Dakotah. It's in the
I
middle.
can't. Okay, I have to look on my phone because my Discord
It's
is being
like the
taken up.
DNA spiral pasta.
Okay.
It's impossible to fork. It just spirals down from the fork.
You use a
thing.
spoon, you simpleton.
Never.
Okay,
You
so
can also use chopsticks.
No,
why is there so many?
because there's a
Well,
lot of
There's more than this.
there's a lot of
Italy's
dice
old.
for it. Yeah,
Like my
So,
favorite pasta
Al-
is not even on here.
So you don't like which one?
Fusilli.
Fusilli?
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. It's okay.
Dude, they're super forkable. What are you talking about?
yeah, man,
just-
I'm on
you
his
need a
side.
You
Sharp-
can slap
you
like
need a
10 of the
sharper-
bad boys on a fork.
I need a
to get a
sharper
fork
fork.
lesson. Okay.
You need a fork lesson. You got to lift weights. That way you can use your biceps to lift the forks up.
I heard you might need to be
heard
certified for that.
Alex just got a weight room. You can't turn him into like Evan Drago over here. You know,
Oh,
Dang.
yeah, I did.
He's gonna
Yeah.
be buff. I'm gonna
He is.
adjust this.
Hopefully.
There we go.
yeah.